What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 6MJ Chapter 126 The Door of Justice is broken. Please customize, please order in full. Mr. Levi, do you have any way to save him? Ace Bagu raised his head in surprise. At this moment, his tears and snot were hanging together, looking very funny. I can save him, but his injuries are too serious. It is estimated that he will only be a reformer in the future. Levi said to Ace Bagu. It's good to be alive. Ace Bagu was also relieved. After that, Luo was preparing for the operation in the operating room, and Babo and others continued to go to Eni's lobby. At this time, Tom has arrived at Eni's lobby, and the sea train track has only reached the first gate. I didn't expect that the first operation of the sea train would actually send its own manufacturer to trial. It's really ironic. Spandam said to Tom angrily, I have to say that this guy's vitality is really strong, and he only got his left arm broken by a punch from Tom. At this moment, they passed through a long corridor, past the second main entrance above the waterfall, and arrived at the main entrance of the court. Tom looked at the court in front of him with emotion. It was here that he was sentenced. After being sentenced to death, his lifespan was extended for 14 years because of the research and development of the sea train, and now he is here again. After that, Tom and others passed the complex Tower of Justice, and after crossing the Bridge of Hesitation, they came to the Gate of Justice. This is not the direction of the court. Tom's expression was full of surprise and uncertainty. Back then, he conducted the trial in the front and never went to the rear, let alone seen this huge door of justice. You are so naive. As long as the prisoners are escorted to Eni's lobby, they have been identified as prisoners. Prisoners will only be escorted here. This door is called the Gate of Justice. All prisoners who pass through this door will go there. No reply. This symbolizes Marine's absolute justice. Spandam laughed and explained to Tom. Then why did I go on trial for the first time? Tom said in astonishment. Spandam's eyes were even more pitiful. That's because your case involves the Pirate King Roger. He was a world-famous celebrity at the time. Naturally, everything that needs to be done about his case must be done in compliance with the law. It turns out that I have taken advantage of Roger. Is this justice in this world? Tom suddenly realized. Okay, old guy, it's time to hit the road. Your next stop is the deep sea prison. Impel down. You can retire there from now on. As for the design drawings of Pluton, I will find two of your disciples are going to torture him slowly. Spandam smiled strangely. Tom was about to struggle, but he was held down by two giants. Old guy, I knew you were very strong on the sea train. How could I not be prepared? With Spandam's laughter, the door of justice slammed shut. Rush over. Levi and others had arrived at the edge of Eni's lobby. At this moment, they were stopped by the iron fence of Eni's lobby. After that, the submarine crashed through the sample pool and rushed into Eni's lobby. Toot. 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 A sharp whistle broke the calm of Eni's lobby, and then the Marines began to assemble. No, there are pirates attacking Eni's lobby. The messenger ran all the way to the back of Eni's lobby, and all the guards along the way were alerted. Keep going. Levi ordered Babo and others, and then his eyes suddenly sharpened, and his conqueror's hockey instantly enveloped these soldiers, who fell to the ground without firing a shot. When can I have this level of conqueror's hockey? Kid looked at the scene in front of him with envy. Although he owned conqueror's hockey, he could not send and receive conqueror's hockey freely. Is this my man? He's so powerful? Mariejois' eyes were filled with little stars. Although there were many soldiers on the island, they all fell under Levi's conqueror's hockey. Eni's lobby has never been invaded, so the soldiers here have never experienced the baptism of war. Although they are large in number, their will is too weak. Sir Spandam, there are pirates who have broken through the defense line of Eni's lobby and are heading towards the Gate of Justice. The person guarding Eni's lobby called Spandam. Who is it? Which big pirate is it? Spandam originally just fabricated a crime for Tom, but he never expected that a pirate would really come to rescue Tom. You can't see anyone clearly. No one got off the ship, but all our soldiers have fallen down. A report came from the phone bug. Is W the remnant of the Pirate King? Spandam thought. Report to Marshal Sengoku immediately, Spandam said urgently. If they are really the remnants of Pirate King Roger, then things will be very serious. They are all a group of monsters with superior combat power. Just like the bullet imprisoned by Impel Down, Marine launched a buster call to capture him. What? Someone is attacking Eni's lobby, and the enemy hasn't even shown up yet. Sengoku suddenly became angry. Eni's lobby is the centerpiece of the world government. It has not been attacked since it was built, and now someone is attacking Eni's lobby. And it seems to be even more successful. Sengoku couldn't help but feel angry at the world government. The defenders of Eni's lobby lost a lot of money, but they did not even offer any effective resistance. This fully demonstrated how corrupt the military discipline of the defenders of Eni's lobby was. They actually not even qualified to show up to the enemy. He could only ask Marine for help and shame. Marshal, the enemy has come out, and I, the money guy, will send the video to you. The other end of the phone said in surprise. Levi, how could it be him? Sengoku suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. Isn't Levi in West Blue? How did he end up here? And every time Levi shows up, he will cause immeasurable losses to Marine. Levi was already standing on the yellow submarine, and the speed of the submarine did not slow down at all. Levi's eyes flashed, and the seven-star sword in his hand was unsheathed, and then the sword in his hand moved towards the gate of justice. Swing it away. A dark green light flashed, and the slashy swung towards the gate of justice. The gate of justice was originally indestructible, but the moment the slash passed by, it turned into fragments the size of a fist. The indestructible door of justice was destroyed by Levi's sword. After the gate of justice is destroyed, Levi rides the submarine and continues down the ocean toward the Impel. Chapter 127. Shiryu of Raging Rain, please customize, please order in full. Where is Spandam's destination? Sengoku asked. Now Levi is obviously coming with bad intentions, and he also has the power to turn the whole world upside down. If he is allowed to continue like this, he may cause immeasurable damage to Marine. Report to the Marshal, Impel down. Impel down. Sengoku also stayed there for a while. The most vicious criminals in the world were imprisoned in Impel down. If Levi releases them, I'm afraid the entire sea will never be peaceful again. Hurry and find Perusalino for reinforcements, Sengoku said urgently. Kizaru Admiral is the fastest, so it is the best result for him to be the reinforcement now. Coupled with Impel down warden named Shiryu, he should be able to compete with Levi. I hope everything won't be too bad, Sengoku said with a headache. Ask Akainu Admiral to join us for reinforcements. Sengoku still felt that it was a bit unsafe, so he asked Akainu to also go out. Moses. Shiryu of the Rain, who was wiping his sword and Impel down, suddenly stopped. It was Marine Marshal Sengoku's call. What's the matter, Marshal Sengoku? Shiryu asked. The big pirate Levi 747 is chasing Spandam's ship. They are about to reach Impel down. I have asked Kizaru Admiral and Akainu Admiral to go to support. Before that, you must not attack rashly. Be careful of those felons on the 6th floor of Impel down. Escape. Sengoku warned Shiryu of the Rain carefully. Is Levi, the great pirate with a bounty of 5 billion belly, coming? Shiryu's tone suddenly became excited. He is a war-loving person. Because he is too bloodthirsty, he was ordered not to take a step forward. As a result, he never participated in the Marineford battle, which he has always regretted. Okay, I understand, Marshal Sengoku. Rainy Shiryu hung up Sengoku's call impatiently. Levi, I finally have a decent opponent. Shiryu wiped his sword and laughed, and he could feel that. His sword became excited at this moment. Are you even getting excited? Let's have a good fight, Shiryu laughed. Shiryu of Rain, now that I have handed this prisoner over to you, BFCG, my mission is completed. Spandam dropped Tom in a hurry and ran away. He was frightened when he knew Levi was behind him. Fortunately, Levi didn't catch up. Now that his mission was completed, he didn't want to stay any longer. Since this old guy has something to do with Roger, the Pirate King, then he is a serious felon. Let's lock him up on the 6th floor. Shiryu glanced at Tom and said. Shiryu, this person's strength is far from reaching the standards of the 6th floor. He will die within a day of going down. Magellan said from the side. Shiryu and Magellan of Rain are known as the Iron Walls of Impel Down, and only he dares to contradict the murderous warden. Shiryu's scarlet eyes stared straight at Magellan. Magellan was not afraid at all, and the two just stared at each other for a long time. Magellan, who is the warden of Impel Down? Asked Shiryu of the Rain. You are the warden of Impel Down. Magellan's aura weakened. Then execute the order. Magellan. Rainy Shiryu laughed. Magellan had no choice but to take Tom into Impel Down. Is it finally here? Shiryu smiled excitedly as he looked at the yellow submarine appearing in the distance, and the sword on his waist couldn't help but tremble. Shiryu of Rain, Magellan, I don't mean to embarrass you. As long as you release Tom, I will leave immediately. How about it? Levi looked at the two wardens in front of him and said. Levi, as long as you can kill me, not to mention the old fishman just now, you can also release all Impel Down's prisoners. Shiryu's eyes became even scarlet. At the same time, the sword in his hand was pointed directly at Levi. Levi sighed. Sure enough, he knew that this battle could not be avoided. Levi also took out the 7-star sword in his hand, and pointed the tip of his sword towards Shiryu of Rain. Your sword is very beautiful. If I kill you, I will keep it as my collection. Shiryu's words were full of confidence. Before Levi could speak, his figure had already dissipated in the air. Then the 7-star sword in Levi's hand moved quickly, and his movements became faster and faster. Magellan could no longer see their movements clearly. Levi finally knew why Shiryu was nicknamed Shiryu of Rain. His attacks were like raindrops falling from the sky, so dense that they seemed to be everywhere. Fortunately, Levi has awakened the top observation Haki, otherwise his battle would have reached a stalemate. Rain Shiryu's swordsmanship far exceeds that of Momosagi. He should be Marine's best swordsman. Bye. Levi, you are good, you can actually keep up with my speed. Shiryu's eyes were full of excitement. That's it, Shiryu, your swordsmanship is nothing more than this. When Levi's observation Haki had not reached its peak, maybe Shiryu had a chance to fight him a few times, but now #EL. How dare you underestimate me, Shiryu yelled, and his speed became faster. Levi did not resist his sword blow, he just gently moved the sword forward. With a slight sound, Shiryu's figure appeared. At this moment, Levi's long sword had pierced his chest, and drops of blood dripped down the seven-star sword. This sound seemed particularly loud at this moment. It's just a coincidence. Shiryu broke away from Levi's sword tip, and then a series of red slashes kept hitting Levi. Levi put his left hand behind his back and moved his right hand gently, causing Shiryu of the Rain's slash to fly away. You can also take one of my moves. Levi also sent out a slash, and the white slash eclipsed everything around him. How can this be? At this moment, a huge wound appeared diagonally on Shiryu's chest. If he hadn't dodged quickly just now, the slash would have cut him in half. Shiryu of the Rain easily dodged the blow, but when he changed direction, the slash was deflected towards him. You actually saw through my attack, Shiryu said in shock. This is just a little bit of observation hockey's magic, it's nothing. Levi waved his hand modestly. Chapter 128 Reign of Shiryu and Magellan, defeated, please customize, please order in full. Poisonous pufferfish. Levi knocked several purple liquid balls away with a slash, and Shiryu of the Rain got a chance to breathe. Don't mind your own business, Magellan. Shiryu of Rain turned around and slashed at Magellan. If I hadn't saved you just now, you would have died. Magellan was almost mad at the warden. Now that the enemy was in front of him, Shiryu of the Rain attacked him first. This is my battle. Even if I die here, it only means that I am just a man. Shiryu of Rain shouted at Magellan. What a stubborn guy. Magellan shrugged helplessly. Drink it. Magellan threw a jar of purple liquid to Shiryu of the Rain, and at the same time a purple mist began to emit from his body. The entire impelled down entrance became moderate in less than a moment. Obviously Magellan is very toxic. Strongly corrosive. I am Magellan, Deputy Director of Impel Down, and I am a user with Paramecia Poison Fruit ability. Let me be your opponent next. Magellan strode to Li Wei. It doesn't matter who it is, I'm in a hurry, so come on together. Levi raised his fingers at Magellan and Shiryu of the Rain at the same time. How dare you underestimate us like this? Shiryu and Magellan of the Rain suddenly became angry, and they walked towards Levi Jung at the same time. Poison Dragon. 3 purple dragons sprang out of Magellan's body, and the 3 dragons roared and rushed towards Levi. Behind the 3 poisonous dragons, Shiryu of the Rain clenched the hilt of his sword, waiting for Levi to reveal his flaw. My poison cannot be touched by the body. As long as it sticks to your skin, you will be in severe pain. Magellan smiled proudly. Wouldn't it be better if there was no contact? Levi's eyes flashed, his left fist was brought under his ribs, and then he punched out fiercely. Boom! With powerful punches mixed with hurricane force, the 3 poisonous dragons were blown away by Levi's punch, and the force of the punches did not dissipate. After Levi's punch smashed through the door of Impel Down, there were bursts of screams from Impel Down. This is when the guards inside were contaminated with Magellan's poisonous gas and let out bursts of screams. You dare to be distracted during the battle? When Magellan was distracted, Levi's figure appeared in front of Magellan, and then Magellan's figure was smashed into Impel Down. I told you, your sword is not fast enough, Shiryu. Levi said to Shiryu of the Rain, whose chest was penetrated by his sword. When Levi punched Magellan, Shiryu of the Rain also made a sneak attack from behind Levi, but all his movements were invisible to Levi's observation hockey. Levi had already seen through Shiryu's trajectory, and even though he was coming from behind, he was still penetrated by Levi's sword. Levi swung the long sword in his hand, and Shiryu was thrown into Impel Down by Levi. Impossible. Your body has been exposed to my poison, why are you still not affected? Magellan looked at the unharmed Levi in shock. When Levi's fist hit his face just now, he poured poison all over his body. Liquefaction. If his venom hadn't turned into venom earlier just now, Levi's punch would have rendered him incapable of fighting. Magellan was sure that his venom had touched Levi's body, but Levi didn't react at all, which was really strange. I have armament hockey to protect me. Your venom cannot affect mine. Levi raised his fist at Magellan and said. Impossible. I have met many prisoners with advanced armament hockey, and their armament hockey cannot stop my venom at all. Magellan said to Levi. If you can't stop it, it only means that their armament hockey is not strong enough. Levi laughed, and then he walked towards Shiryu of the Rain. Can you tell me now where the person I want is being held? Levi put the 7-star sword on Shiryu's neck and asked. No prisoner will leave alive and Impel Down, so just give up. Shiryu of the Rain was unmoved at all. It turns out there are reinforcements, no wonder you dare to be so arrogant. Levi's observation hockey sensed that Kizaru was heading towards Impel Down rapidly, and his expression changed slightly. Hawkins, move the submarine farther away from the Impel. The Marine Admiral is coming. Levi said to Hawkins while holding the phone bug. I don't have time to waste with you. Levi punched Magellan to the ground again, and this time Magellan was seriously injured by Levi. Tadano was lying on the ground just like Shiryu, lingering. Please give me flowers. Levi quickly came to the first floor of Impel Down Crimson Hell. His observation hockey scanned this floor in an instant, and Tom was not here. Afterwards, Levi's figure disappeared on this level and came to the second level of Warcraft Hell. There was no trace of Tom on the second level either. Tom was not found in the 3rd level of Starvation Hell or the 4th level of Blazing Hell. When they reached the 5th floor of Freezing Hell, the prisoners here finally discovered Levi's traces. You are not the one who impelled down, you rescue Lousy and all of Lousy's treasures will be given to you. Boy, let Lousy out quickly. The entire Freezing Hell suddenly became a mess. They had all been seriously injured by the cold and were dying. Now that they saw an outsider, they couldn't help but be surprised. It's so noisy. Levi shouted loudly, and then his Conqueror's Hockey enveloped the entire Freezing Hell. Each of the prisoners was shocked and fainted by Levi's Conqueror's Hockey, and the entire Freezing Hell suddenly became quiet. Is Tom imprisoned in the 6th floor of Eternal Hell? That is the most vicious pirate on the entire sea. Levi originally thought that Tom was on the first 4 floors, but now except for the 6th floor, all other places are closed. After checking it out, looking at the 6th floor in front of him, Levi headed here. Hey, kid, how did you get down here? As soon as Levi appeared, a prisoner spotted him. The Eternal Hell is very lively today. A week-old guy just came down, and now a young man has arrived. The prisoners here are all great people. They are either death row prisoners or life imprisonment. The prisoners here are all people who have been erased from history because they are too vicious. The people here are all because they are too powerful, so they have a layer of all were tightly sealed. The prison at this time was extremely lively, with several Conqueror's Hockey competing constantly, and Tom was in the prison of the most powerful Conqueror's Hockey. Finally found the person, Levi couldn't help but rejoiced. Chapter 129. Impel Down Riot, please order the full version, please customize. Tom, it's great that you're okay. Levi came to the cage where Tom was. At this moment, there was a man with blonde curly hair with Tom. From this man, Levi felt a long-lost sense of oppression. This is. Levi's eyes narrowed. He is a crew member of the Roger Pirates. His name is Bullet. Because my crime is to build ships for Roger, the Pirate King, we will be locked up together. Otherwise. Tom glanced at the long men around him with lingering fear. The 5-flowered 8-gate guys. Levi knew what he meant. If Bullet hadn't protected him, he might not have been able to wait for Levi's arrival. Kaka. With a few soft sounds, the cage and the seastone chains that bound Bullet were cut, and Bullet jumped up from the ground. 660. Freedom is such a long-lost feeling. Bar twisted his neck, and then his neck made a clicking sound. Bullet, never owe favors to others. I can do one thing for you, Bullet said to Levi in a low voice. No, this is my thank you gift for protecting Tom, Levi said to Bullet. The reason why I protected him was to let him talk to me. You know, it's not easy to meet an acquaintance in an infinite prison. Bullet obviously did not admit Levi's sentiment. This kid can actually cut through Seastone's chains. Seeing that Bullet was free again, other prisoners in the prison began to become restless. They have been bound by Seastone chains since arriving in infinite prison. They were pretty good. Next to Bullet, there was a big man wearing a horned helmet frozen in a piece of ice. Shut up, otherwise Lousy will kill you all, Bullet shouted loudly. The whole prison suddenly became silent. It seemed that they were all afraid of this strong man. If you really want to repay my favor, then you can help me stop the Marine Admiral later, okay? Levi asked Bullet. Leave it to me. Now that I, Bullet, have been released from prison, how can I be unknown? Just use the fall of Admiral to announce my departure. Denlet clenched her fists and said. There may not be an Admiral now. In addition to Admiral Kizaru, Akainu is also here. What we have to face are the 4 strong ones Akainu, Kizaru, Shiryu of Rain and Magellan. Levi felt Akainu's breath again, and now Akainu and Kizaru had arrived at the door of Impel Down. If you want to make a fuss, make it louder. The 7-star sword in Levi's hand sent out slashes one after another, and all the seastone chains on all the prisoners were cut off. For a moment, the whole prison was filled with demons dancing wildly. The most powerful among them are Degra Bullet, known as the Descendant of the Devil, World Destroyer, Burndy World, and Beryl, Bacchus Choate. Hunter of the Black Moon, Katarina Deepon, Giant Battleship, San Juan Wolf and King of Evil, Abaro Pizarro. Lousy is finally free. One big pirate after another let out bursts of wolf howls. They have been forgotten in this world for too long, and they urgently need a killing to announce their return. Mr. Levi, if all these prisoners escape from prison, I'm afraid the entire sea will be plunged into a bloody storm. Tom said anxiously. He is a bottom dweller in this world, and he knows that this is the suffering of the bottom people in this world. These pirates have not been released from prison, and he has begun to worry about the countless ordinary people on the sea. What do you mean, old guy? Next to Tom, a bald man heard what he said, so he walked towards Tom with a grin. The others had different expressions, and they were all waiting for Levi's reaction. I want to see Levi's strength. You're the only one who talks a lot, right? The 7-star sword in Levi's hand sent out a slash, and the strong man was cut in half in an instant. So strong, all the pirates were shocked. Although the strength of the big man just now was not the best among them, it should not be underestimated. The big man just now had gathered armament hockey in his body, but he was still cut into pieces by Levi's sword. Even with 2 halves, many of them can defeat this strong man, but they are definitely not as clean and neat as Levi. For a time, all the pirates gave up their thoughts of provoking Ji-Wei. Glancing at these pirates with evil intentions, Levi sneered. I know you are all a group of big pirates. The laws of ingratitude and preying on the weak have been deeply ingrained in your bones, but now Marine Admiral Akainu and Kizaru are still waiting for you. As for you, is it too early to burn bridges now? What, Marine Admiral is here too? All the pirates started to panic. Originally, they thought it would be easy to defeat the guards of Impel Down, Chongami Shiryu and Magellan, with their strength. Now it seems that they were happy too early. Mr. Levi, what should we do? A pirate asked. What to do, of course, release all the pirates on the first few floors, and let's take advantage of the chaos to have a fight with Marine. It depends on everyone's luck how many people jump out. Levi suddenly laughed. Pirates, find the weapons you need and fight out of here. Levi's words made the pirates' blood boil, and they began to kill towards the upper floors. Kill these Marines. The pirates attacked layer by layer, and the entire prison fell into a riot. Shiryu of the Rain, Magellan, you two didn't stop Levi. When Kizaru arrived, 5.4 he couldn't help being surprised when he saw the scarred two people. The reason why Impel Down is called the Iron Wall is not only that it is built in the deep sea and is protected by sea kings around it, but the main reason is because with these two men, the strength of each of them is infinitely close. For Admiral, as long as they're here, no prisoner can escape from their hands. The first prisoner to escape from Impel Down was Golden Lion. After he broke his legs, he only retrieved his sword and used the properties of his lion fruit to escape from the air without any contact with you. Then Shiryu and Golden Lion fight. No, all the prisoners on the 6th floor were released by Levi. Magellan couldn't help but be shocked as he looked at the scene among the image worms. The 130th picture. Akainu who broke the cauldron, please order the full version, please customize. Now we're in big trouble. Kizaru was dumbfounded when he saw this scene. Impel Down the pirates on the 6th floor must not be released. This is a very terrifying force. These guys are the most vicious criminals that Marine has captured in recent decades. Each of them has with the ability to defeat thousands of people. There are even beings that can destroy mountains and seas. It is no exaggeration to say that if the criminals on the 6th floor can work together to form a pirate group, they can directly confront Marine. Marshal Sengoku, something uncontrollable happened. Kizaru began to take out the phone bug and report to Sengoku. What? Levi released all the prisoners in Impel Down. Sengoku jumped up when he heard Kizaru's report. Prisoners in Impel Down must not escape from prison. Now Marine is in an unprecedented moment of weakness. Although pirates have recently begun to fight for hegemony in the world due to the fall of the Golden Lion, the number of pirates is too much. The dead and injured pirates compared with the terrifying number of pirates, it is not worth mentioning at all. In the Battle of Marineford, Marine directly killed and injured 100,000 Marines, which was nearly half of Marine's elites. Now Marine's military strength has been stretched to the entire world. Although a large number of soldiers have been replenished, they cannot form an effective force in a short period of time. Combat effectiveness. If the current Marines meet the guys from Impel Down's 6th floor, I'm afraid the entire Marine system will be severely damaged. At any cost, we must keep these guys Impel Down, life or death. Sengoku yelled at Kizaru. Kizaru said, Marshal, although I say so, Shiryu and Magellan of the Rain have been seriously injured. Just relying on me and Akainu. I'll ask Aokiji to come over and support him now, Sengoku said to Kizaru. He also knew what kind of felons were imprisoned in Impel Down, and a large part of them were captured by him in Garp. The most troublesome among them is probably the Devil's Descendant, Bullet. This man's strength can rival Rayleigh. The most terrifying thing is that this guy already had the ability to form an army of devil fruit when he was a teenager. This man once he is a soldier, his fighting skills are very superb, and he also possesses Conqueror's Armed Color and Conqueror's Hockey. This man was captured by Sengoku and others after they launched the Buster Call. He still remembers this man who was fused with the terrifying body created by the Marine fleet. Although he is only one person, he is stronger than 1,000,000 men. There is also Debang World, known as the World Destroyer. This man was once, like Roger and Whitebeard, a man who was feared by the entire world government and Marine. His strength is acceptable, but the power of the Momo fruit he takes is too pervert. It can increase the size and speed of objects it touches by hundreds of times. This is a god-level auxiliary fruit. If his fruit can act on things may become serious for Levi and Bullet. Kizaru, how is the situation? Akainu rushed over. After that, Kizaru and Akainu explained the situation carefully. Even Akainu, who had always been a hardliner, felt a headache. We must not let any of the pirates here go. We must keep them all Impel Down, Akainu said firmly. Magellan, spread your poison throughout the prison and consume the pirates' vitality first. Unlike Kizaru who clocks into work, Akainu is a very conscientious person and he began to arrange the mess of Impel Down. With Akainu as the backbone, the Marines also began to organize effective resistance. All pirates were suppressed on the 3rd level of Impel Down, and Magellan's poisonous gas continued to spread downwards. Lord Levi, it's not good, now our large army is blocked by Magellan in starvation hell. There are reports from pirates and Levi. Different from the old pirates on the 6th floor, the pirates above are all new pirates captured in recent years. They all know Levi's name and know how terrifying Levi is. The power of. It seems it's time for us to take action. Levi smiled at the felons he rescued. Now Bullet has found a black coat from Magellan's office and put it on. As for the others, they are still in prison uniforms. They have been in prison for a long time, and their belongings have been destroyed by Marine. These powerful pirates let out bursts of strange laughter, and then they followed Levi towards starvation hell. They're out. Akainu and others looked at the memory bugs in front of them, and things turned out to be the worst. All the prisoners on the 6th floor were released by Levi. Open it for me. The 7-star sword in Levi's hand charged up, and then a brilliant slash flew upwards along the 3rd level of hell. As Levi swung his sword, all the image bugs and phone bugs on this level were destroyed by Levi. They could no longer observe what was going on inside the prison. Boom. A brilliant slash emerged from Impel Down's door. This slash actually penetrated the 3 levels of hell, and flew directly towards the sea without losing its momentum. Levi's swordsmanship is definitely not inferior to that of the world's greatest swordsman, Hawkeye. Kizaru and Akainu were shocked at the same time. Hawkeye showed his strength when he accepted the Shichibukai. Levi's current slash was definitely not inferior to Hawkeye's slash that day. It's an honor for me, Levi, to have 2 admirals here. Levi and others had already arrived at the door of Impel Down. At this moment, he burst out laughing when he saw the scene in front of him. Now the entire Impel Down soldiers have set up positions outside, and all the ships in Impel Down have been scuttled by Akainu at this moment. Akainu is really a ruthless person. He has cut off all the options for Marine. Similarly, he has also cut off all options for the pirates. Since Marine has no escape route, they can only fight to the death with the pirates, but the pirates are different. Most of them have not mastered the flying stunts like moonwalk, even if they kill all the Marines in front of them. It's all to no avail. They will eventually be suppressed by Marine's large army, and the morale of the pirates is obviously low. Akainu is worthy of being the future Marine Marshal. He really has a lot of talent. Levi sighed inwardly. Chapter 131 Impel Down Battle. Please order the full version, please customize. Pirates, Impel Down is your destination. You can't even think of escaping from here. Akainu's whole body was covered in flames, and he looked extremely frightening. Akainu, back then you launched the Buster Call to arrest me and lock me in this hellish place for so long. Today I will settle the score with you. Bullet emerged from the crowd and began to walk towards Akainu, while Conqueror's hockey emanated from him. Great eruption. Akainu's right fist hit Bullet hard, and a fan-shaped area of high-temperature flames followed Bullet. Bullet jumped up high, and then he punched Akainu. The two were fighting in a blink of an eye. The pirates were afraid of being affected by the battle between the 2 god tiers, so they all ran back. Impel Down Minister. Kizaru Admiral, let me be your opponent. Levi slowly walked towards Kizaru. Such a wonderful duel, why don't you wait for them to finish? Kizaru said in surprise. Looking at the lazy Kizaru, Levi laughed. That won't work. This place is too close to the Marine headquarters, Marineford. If Marine reinforcements come over, we will be doomed. Okay then. Kizaru stretched, and then his whole body began to glow. Let me see if you have made any progress in the past 2 years, far. Levi's whole body was filled with electric light, and then he disappeared. When he reappeared, his fist had already collided with Kizaru's leg. Their whole bodies shone brightly, and others could no longer see their figures clearly, and could only hear the constant sounds of fighting. Kill Shiryu and Magellan of the Rain. The pirates shouted and headed towards the 2 of them. Shiryu of the Rain took a long puff of cigarette, then he lifted the brim of his hat and tightened the handle of the knife in his hand. At this moment, the pirates charged towards Marine with enthusiasm. They had been enslaved by them for too long, and now it was time for them to take revenge. Behead quickly. Shiryu of the Rain blew out the smoke from his mouth, the scarlet color in his eyes flashed away, and as his body moved quickly, one pirate after another fell down. I can't let you continue to be arrogant. Xuanyue Hunter Katarina de Pen held a spear against Shiryu's sword. This is the battle I long for. Shiryu of the Rain was so excited that his whole body was trembling. Blood flying all over the sky, killing everywhere, this is the battle I want. Rain Shiryu looked up and laughed. Although he had been seriously injured by Levi before, his expression was even more excited now. Boom. Shiryu of the Rain's body was slammed back to Marine's position. Although his strength was tyrannical, the pirates of Eternal Hell were not for nothing. After Shiryu was entangled by Katarina de Pen, all attacks were directed at him. It's so enjoyable. Rain's Shiryu's blood flowed from the corners of his mouth, but his expression did not show any signs of decadence. Poison Dragon. Magellan let out a loud roar, and then his body turned into a pool of purple liquid, and several poisonous dragons swept towards the pirates with their claws and teeth. The pirates had no ability to resist Magellan's attack at all, and their bodies were all stained with purple venom. After that, bursts of ghostly cries and howls were heard, and they rolled on the ground in pain. Upon seeing this, the strong men of Eternal Hell all retreated into Impel Down. During such a long period of time in Impel Down, they had also witnessed the horror of this purple toxin. How could they dare to let these toxins contaminate their bodies again? As a result, the entire fighting camp moved towards Impel Down. Outside Impel Down, only Levi and Kizaru were left fighting, and Akainu and Bullet were fighting. Kizaru's sparkling fruit development level is no less than Levi's. The two competed for a long time, but they still couldn't decide the outcome. Levi's observation haki was fully activated in an instant. Under the effect of observation haki, Levi felt as if he had a god's perspective. Not only could he predict Kizaru's trajectory, but he could also sense Kizaru's thoughts. As soon as Levi's observation haki was activated, Kizaru felt that Levi's speed suddenly became much faster, and every attack from Levi hit his weak point. That's amazing, Levi, Kizaru gasped, clutching his chest. If it weren't for his strong physique, he would have been killed by Levi now. Now Kizaru feels that he is seriously injured, but he has already elementalized the injured part, and he can barely hold on for a while. Boom! Levi felt that the whole earth was shaking continuously, and then a huge gap opened in the belly of Impel Down's mountain. Debang World laughed and flew out of the gap, and then the seawater poured in. World used the power of his Momo fruit to amplify the power of the gunpowder explosion many times, and then he flew into the sky and flew away. Only then did the other criminals react. They were about to get through, but the seawater poured in. They all had demon fruit power. Seeing this, they hurriedly retreated. Even the arrogant Magellan avoided the seawater at this moment. Tom's eyes lit up when he saw this, and his body instantly disappeared into the seawater. He was a fishman, so he was naturally at home in the water. A few pirates with demon fruit power also took the opportunity to escape, but most of the pirates were blocked in the passage by Magellan. The giant soldier of poison, the judgment of hell. A bright red skeleton giant appeared from Magellan's body. As soon as the poison came out, all the pirates were continuously poisoned. Levi was about to attack Akainu when he suddenly felt Aokiji's breath coming towards him. He laughed. It's really lively today. All three admirals came to Impel Down. 11. Haha, Levi, there's only so much I can help you with. The moment Levi felt Aokiji's breath, Bullet also felt it. He let out a long laugh, and then a submarine composed entirely of soil and weapons surrounded him. As the submarine crashed into the water, Bullet followed the current, ran away roar. Don't even think about escaping. Akainu's blow directly hit the sea, and the entire sea was boiling with evaporated water vapor. But when the water vapor dissipated, Bullet's figure had disappeared into the sea, and even Levi's figure had disappeared. With a crunching sound, Aokiji's figure appeared outside Impel Down. Chapter 132 Navigator Academy, please customize, please order in full. Have you heard? Recently, the big pirate Levi broke into the Impel Down prison. Fortunately, Marine Admiral came to the rescue in time and prevented the Impel Down criminals from escaping. It was a critical moment. I heard that the pirates stole Marine's warship. In a tavern, a drunkard was spitting and talking. Old Henry, you must have been drunk again. What does Impel Down mean? No criminals escaped. Bullet and Debang World, which are making a fuss on the sea now, didn't escape from Impel Down. Someone next to him laughed. Yes, they are all characters who disappeared on the sea for a long time. When Marine caught them, they made headlines for 3 days. A bearded man agreed. This is what the newspaper said. How could it be wrong? Old Henry tried hard to argue for himself as the veins on his forehead popped out. Why are you not talking nonsense? The day before yesterday, you said that you peeped at the widow Ruth taking a bath and ended up being hung up and beaten. What's the matter of hanging and beating? How can such a fun thing be called beating? Old Henry defended himself with a red face. Let me go, what Old Henry said is true. In addition to this, there is another headline. The Thor who disappeared for a long time in the Levi Pirates actually founded a Navigator Academy? A man picked up Old Henry, the newspaper exclaimed. A pirate founded a school. They laughed immediately and the whole tavern was filled with a happy atmosphere. This scene not only happened in a tavern, but also happened in New World, Grand Line, East, West, North and South. This was the big news that Levi asked Morgans to post, on condition that he give him big news. What the hell is Levi doing? Sengoku looked puzzled. Pirates were all a group of people who burned, killed, and looted. Now there were actually pirates who started teaching and educating people. No matter how you looked at it, there was a sense of disobedience. No matter what he wants to do, as long as he doesn't stir up trouble in this world, Crane Vice Admiral said. They were all shocked by Levi's ability to cause trouble. Although Levi did not burn, kill, and rob low-class people, everything he did was a major event that shocked the entire world. Marine was also frightened by him. Didn't Levi say that as long as anyone under the age of 15 can sign up, we Marine can also send people there? Crane Vice Admiral smiled slyly. Because Marine follows fixed routes, they have dedicated personnel responsible for each route, so they do not need navigators. However, now is a good opportunity for Marine to set up an informant. But I remember that Visalia is a country that specializes in meteorological research. They're very accomplished in weather research. I didn't expect that they were occupied by pirates. Crane Vice Admiral also sighed. The pirates are too powerful now. Big, Marine can't do anything about it. Grand Line, Isle of White Earth, Baldigo. This is the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army. Because of Levi, now that the Marines have given up hunting the dragon, the cause of the Revolutionary Army can flourish. At this moment, Long was reading today's newspaper. He had also heard of Levi, and he felt that Levi was very different from traditional pirates. He had strength and means, but he did not go to the New World to fight for territory, but wandering around. As the leader of a revolutionary army, Long was very familiar with Levi's behavior. This was how the Revolutionary Army came about in the early stages of its development. First, it planted sparks in various places, and when the time was right, it would become a prairie fire. Today's Revolutionary Army has become a part of the world government that cannot be ignored. Shang, what do you think of this, Levi? Long pondered for a moment and asked the big man reading next to him. This big man wears a bear-like hat and is extremely muscular, but his legs are very thin. He is Shichibukai Bartholomew Kuma. I haven't come into contact with him, but he should be an interesting person. The bear closed his Bible, raised his head and said to the dragon, "Let Koala go." The slaves that Koala and Levi rescued together in Mariejois, they had a relationship. The dragon said to the bear. Shang nodded slightly, and then their figures disappeared from their seats. East Blue, Kokoja Village, has now been renamed Arlong Park. The Arlong Pirates were newly established after Arlong and his gang left the Sun Pirates. They came to East Blue after leaving the Grand Line. Because all the elite soldiers from East Blue were transferred to the Grand Line, the Arlong Pirates were in East Blue continued to burn, kill and loot, and finally established Arlong Park with Kokoja Village as the center. Please give me flowers. Levi. Arlong was lying on the beach chair and reading today's news. After seeing Levi, he clenched the newspaper into a ball. He remembered the shame of being defeated by Levi with one punch. But he could only think about it. Now Levi has an admiral level of combat power, and even his subordinate Tezuro, who was down and out at the time, has abilities comparable to Jinbei. Should Nami go to this Navigator Academy for further training? This idea flashed through his mind and was dismissed by him. Nami is the most gifted young man he has ever seen for sailing. It is because of Nami that Arlong established a sailing base here. But when he left the Sun Pirates, he promised Jinbei that he would never set foot in the Grand Line again. Thinking of this, Arlong suddenly became irritable. He took a saw-toothed sword and smashed everything within his reach. Although the whole world was talking about Levi, Levi headed from the Grand Line to the East Blue. After he sent Flam to the country of the future, Tom and Ace Bagu personally built Flam's body. Levi originally planned to let Baby 5 transform Fram's body, but he didn't expect that Tom was also a master-level figure. In less than a day, Fram transformed from a piece of rotten flesh into a transformed person, and he became more handsome, and his name changed from Fram to Frankie. Now that Tezuro's golden fruit has awakened, Tom has boarded his ship to build this unprecedented ship for him. Moreover, Tom has been put on a reward order. He is no longer suitable to return to the 7 capitals of water and revitalize the 7 capitals of water. All the tasks fell on Ace Bagu. Ace Bagu returned to the 7 capitals of water on Luo's submarine. Luo returned to the Drum Kingdom, and Frankie was still studying mechanical skills here. Chapter 133. Barati, a restaurant on the sea. Please customize, please order in full. Eric, don't you want to set up your own bounty hunter? Now I will provide you with funds and devil fruit, so you can realize your dream, Levi said to Eric next to him. Really? Thank you, Master Levi. Eric put one hand on his chest and saluted Levi. After several years of polishing in the Grand Line, Eric has not only broadened his horizons, but his strength has also been greatly enhanced, and his devil fruit has been developed to a very advanced level. The most important thing is that he has mastered armament hockey and chibi hockey. It is no exaggeration to say that Eric is now the #1 master of East Blue. I want your bounty hunter guild to become a bounty hunter guild that is not inferior to the Seidel Guild within 10 years. Levi said to Eric. 237, Graham. Cider Guild. Eric lost his mind for a while. The Seidel Guild is a powerful bounty hunter guild active in the New World. Their targets are big pirates with more than 100 million belly, and they also gain a lot of rewards. They often destroy the entire pirate group, so they are rewarded by the entire bounty hunter guild. Respected by the Golden Hunter Guild, he is called the boss in the bounty hunter community. Boss, I will work hard, Eric said loudly. After that, in East Blue Log Town, he disembarked from the ship to look for his subordinates. Only Levi, Kid, Hawkins and Reiju were left to continue heading towards East Blue. See Restaurant Barati. This is a restaurant that has recently become famous in East Blue. This restaurant is different from other restaurants. This restaurant is built on a big ship. It is said that as long as you have money, you can go to this restaurant. No one will be turned away. At first, many people came to see it as a joke. Although East Blue is known as the weakest sea area, pirates are still rampant in this environment. Pirates will soon come to cause trouble. What is surprising is that the first wave of pirates were conquered by the delicious food of this restaurant, and they happily paid for it. The second wave of pirates were about to eat the king's meal. When they learned that they were not going to pay, the expressions of the chefs immediately change. They solved the pirate group in 3 strokes, 2 divided by 2, and this was a reward. A big pirate group worth 4 million Baileys. Their end was terrible. Their leader was sent directly to Marine Base in exchange for 4 million belly in cash, and these pirate gangsters were sold to human traffickers. From now on, no pirates dare to cause trouble here again. You can see a strange scene here, that is, Marine and pirates are eating in the same restaurant. Everyone can make no mistakes. If the two have conflicts, there will be 2 floating platforms called fins. Here. They can fight to their heart's content here, and other people on the ship can appreciate their fighting, which can be said to be a double win. Because Levi had Zapu's phone number, he came to Barati after asking for his location. Barati is a huge restaurant with fish heads from head to tail. It is divided into 3 floors. As Levi gets closer, he can smell the aroma of dishes coming from the ship. Today's Barati chefs felt very strange. Chef Jepu, who was usually irritable, actually smiled. Even when Sanji broke a plate, he didn't say anything. He had been standing at the door for a long time, as if waiting for something. People. I'm going to see a big shot soon, cheer me up. Zapu's beard was also maintained today, and now it was braided into a braid. Carney walked up to Jepu with a smile and said, Captain, what kind of big shot is he? Tell me, we also have preparations, right? Jepu glanced at him and said, this is a big shot that you can't even imagine. Just wait obediently. Jepu suddenly looked happy, and then he trotted forward to see treatment. Master Levi, long time no see. Jepu smiled particularly brightly. Levi? Which Levi? Carney was a little confused, but the other chef's teeth began to chatter. They had all seen Levi's reward order, and they had recognized Levi. He is the legendary big pirate, the super pirate with a bounty of 5 billion belly. The chef next to him said to Carney. Levi followed Jepu and walked towards the cabin. This restaurant was decorated with a very emotional feel. Under a burst of melodious music, the style of this restaurant became very upscale. Master Levi, try the food I made specially for you. At this moment, a child's voice came out. The moment the sound came out, Reiju immediately covered her mouth in surprise. Long time no see, Master Levi. Sanji smiled happily. Is it Sanji? Reiju's voice trembled. On the day she let Sanji go, she never expected to see Sanji so soon. Reiju. Sanji's eyes suddenly filled with tears, and he threw himself directly into Reiju's arms. This is. Jepu was stunned. This was the first time he saw Sanji cry so sadly. This is Sanji's sister Reiju. Levi explained to Jepu with a smile. Levi didn't tell Reiju that he had met Sanji and that Sanji worked here, so the 2 siblings were surprised when they met. That's it. Jepu also laughed. Sanji had never told him about his family. Every time Jepu asked him, Sanji would tell him that he was an orphan and that he had no regard for his family. Don't talk about it either. Jepu originally wanted to send Sanji back to his home, but later he gave up the idea. Okay, don't worry about them. I've been obsessed with your delicious food since the last time I ate your food. I'm going to have a good meal today. Levi laughed. Of course, my materials have been prepared and waiting for you to come, Jepu also said with a smile. Hey, you bastards, why don't you hurry up and take Mr. Levi to our most exclusive box to wait and tell you that Mr. Levi is also a shareholder of our Barati, so don't be too hasty. Jepu yelled at the chefs. The chefs were immediately stunned. They did not expect that their restaurant background was so powerful and that they had such a powerful backer. Sir Levi, please come here. The chefs warmly greeted Levi and his subordinates to take a seat in the box. After that, delicious dishes were served on the table like water, and a banquet was about to begin. Chapter 134 Shimotsuki Village meets the dragon. Please order the full version, please customize. East Blue, Shimotsuki Village. Levi came to this peaceful village again. Last time Levi passed by and did not visit Koshiro because of time constraints. Now he made up for his regret. Reiju and Sanji hadn't seen each other for a long time, so she stayed in Barati, waiting for Levi to take her with him when he returned. Hey, you are from another village. What are you doing here? A child with 3 bamboo swords on his waist asked Levi. Levi lowered his head and looked at this guy. This guy had short green hair and looked like he had a bunch of green algae on his head. My name is Levi, and I'm here to visit Master Koshiro, Levi said gently. My name is Roronoa Zoro. Zoro replied. Are you also a swordsman? Zoro asked doubtfully. His teacher Koshiro is a famous swordsman in Shiliba village. Swordsmen often come to challenge him. He noticed the 7-star sword behind Levi. 15 His eyes suddenly lit up. Fight with me, I'm very strong, Zoro said excitedly. At the same time, he held a bamboo sword in his left and right hands, and also had one in his mouth. Seeing Levi's and others' doubtful eyes, Zoro was proud. Said, this is my own 3-sword style, isn't it amazing? Zoro, am I too rude to have a fight with you before I visit your teacher? Levi asked. That's right. Then after you finish competing with Mr. Koshiro, you can compete with me. Zoro took his bamboo sword back to his waist again. Come with me. Zoro led Levi forward. I said, do you know the road? Kid complained to Zoro. They had walked around the village twice, and now they were back to the place where they met Zoro. Damn it, there's something wrong with this road. How could I go wrong if I walk it all the time? Zoro said angrily. Levi couldn't help but be speechless at Zoro. It seemed that the rumors were true. This guy was really a road fool. You can't go wrong this time, go this way. Zoro took the lead and walked towards the south. No, it should be this way. Levi went in the opposite direction without hesitation. Since Zoro is a road idiot, his opposite direction should be correct. Master Levi, I have admired you for a long time. Koshiro greeted Levi with a smile. At this moment, Koshiro's aura was full of elegance, and it was impossible to tell that he was a swordsman. In the original work, Koshiro's strength has always been a mystery. He has never made a move, but he has taught Zoro many insights into the way of swordsmanship. These things can only be mastered by swordsmen. In the Wano-kuni chapter, a character appears: the Shimotsuki Yasui clan. The samurai group led by the Shimotsuki Yasui clan is the strongest samurai group in Wano-kuni. Koshiro is definitely inextricably linked to Frosty Yasui. Coupled with Koshiro's sword and Wado Ichimonji, this is one of the 21 great swords, and it is definitely not something that an ordinary person can possess. Koshiro, I heard that you are the best swordsman around here, so I want to learn a few moves with you, Levi said, looking at the smiling Koshiro. Let's discuss. Don't worry about this. Let's go have a cup of tea first. After finishing speaking, Koshiro walked towards the inner room. Just wait for me here, Levi said to Hawkins and others, and then he walked towards the inner room. Just now Koshiro said that someone wanted to see him alone, which made Levi even more curious. Zoro, don't let anyone disturb us, Koshiro ordered Zoro. Zoro then stood guard in front of the door. Mr. Levi, I have long admired you. My name is Monkey D. Dragon. I happened to meet you at Koshiro's dojo today, so I took the liberty to meet you. As soon as Levi entered the door, he saw a man wearing a green cloak. There is also a tattoo on the person's face that looks like a shoe sole print. It seems that Koshiro really has something to do with the Revolutionary Army. Levi confirmed his guess, and then Levi looked around the room. In addition to the dragon, there was also a man with a bear-like hat, who was one of the Shichibukai, bear. Behind the bear, a huge face with an unusually large purple afro suddenly appeared. This guy had long and thick eyelashes, blue eyeshadow and purple lip gloss, which shocked Levi. How did you know my whereabouts? Levi asked curiously. Could it be that the Revolutionary Army's spies have spread all over the world now? Levi was discovered as soon as he showed up in Baratie. No, we just happened to pass by here, and you happened to be here. Long laughed. I originally said that I would have a good talk with Mr. Levi after this period of time, but I didn't expect that today I would be here. I see you here, sir. Long said politely, looking at him like a scholar, not like the world's biggest terrorist at all. We can talk, but after we talk, I have to fight Koshiro, Levi said to the dragon. The dragon glanced at Koshiro, and Koshiro nodded with the dragon, so he said to Levi, Sir, please sit down. I don't know what you think of this world, sir. Before Levi could even sit down, he asked Levi this question. It's good. The government has strong rule and the people live and work in peace and contentment. Levi slapped the dragon. Haha. The corners of the dragon's eyes twitched vaguely, and Levi's observation Hockey sensed that the dragon wanted to slap him at this moment. Since the Great Pirate Era, heroes have emerged, and countless strong men have swarmed to become pirates. They burn, kill, and loot on the sea, committing all kinds of evil. Coupled with the celestial dragons and some evil kings, the people live in a state of chaos. In dire straits, this is the current situation of the world, am I right? Long's eyes looked at Levi. You're right. Levi agreed with Long's point of view. This is the general trend of the entire world, but Long is the first person who wants to change it. And the meaning of our Revolutionary Army's existence is to overthrow the rule of the celestial dragons and world government. Only by breaking the old order can we build a new order. I want to ask Mr. to help me. Long's eyes were fixed on Levi. Levi was still wondering what the dragon was doing when he saw it. It turned out that it was to get him to join the Revolutionary Army. In that case, let me tell you a story. Levi cleared his throat and said. Once upon a time, there was an evil dragon next to a village. He accumulated a lot of treasures in his lair. Every year, strong men challenged him, but they were all killed by the evil dragon. Later, the strongest man on this land became I went to challenge the dragon. This time someone followed me secretly. Guess what they saw? Levi lowered his voice and asked Long and others. Chapter 135. Duel with Koshiro. Please subscribe. The evil dragon killed the warrior? Ivikov, the demon king, replied, blinking his big eyes. The warrior killed the dragon? Seeing Levi shaking his head, Ivikov immediately changed his words. The warrior killed the dragon, but when he sat on the treasure pile, a tail and scales grew on his body, and the warrior turned into a dragon. Levi finished the story in one breath. That story of yours is so bland, it's the worst story I've ever heard, little Levi, Ivikov complained. He didn't understand what Levi meant at all, while the dragon and the bear were thoughtful. Dragon, can you guarantee that you won't become the new celestial dragons after you overthrow the rule of the celestial dragons in the world government? Even if you don't, where is the leader of the second generation Revolutionary Army? What about the third generation, and the fourth generation? Woolencloth? Levi's words caused an uproar in their hearts. They only focused on overthrowing the rule of the celestial dragons, but did not think about what would happen after re-establishing a new order. Mr. Levi, your vision is far inferior to mine. As long as you are willing to join the Revolutionary Army, I will give up my position as leader. Long saluted Levi. I became a rising star in Marine because of my outstanding strength in my youth. When the Pirate King was executed, I was also there to maintain order. When the era of great pirates came, in order to prevent the pirates from attacking Mariejois, I was regarded as the highest fighting force, guards Mariejois. Long Weiwei said. In this place known as the most prosperous place in the world, I witnessed the greatest darkness in the world. Celestial dragons are also humans, but they regard themselves as superior gods, and they regard other humans as pigs and dogs. I am deeply shocked by such wanton abuse. Is this what I pursue and protect? After that, I continued to travel around the world, and I saw that the world was full of darkness. Countless innocent people were struggling under the butcher's knife of pirates and the exploitation of the world government. When they had no way out, they also picked up swords and guns and went into the sea, and new pirates were born. This is why pirates are banned again and again. After years of thinking, First felt that Marine had become corrupt, so First betrayed Marine, eager to overthrow the world government and build a world of true harmony, freedom, equality, and dreams. Listening to Long's words, Levi was also in awe of him. He was a pioneer. Although his current theory was still rough, people who could have such an awareness deserved respect. Long, I'm just an explorer like you, let's explore together, Levi smiled. Afterwards, Levi and Long had a conversation, and Chen Wei's many viewers gave Dorag a refreshing feeling. I really benefited a lot from talking with Mr. Levi. I should have gotten to know Mr. Levi earlier, Long Bu Yusheng sighed. Just call me Levi. Calling me sir is too harsh, Levi said to the dragon. Okay, it's up to you, Long laughed. Mr. Koshiro, now we can learn swordsmanship, Levi said with a smile. Levi, Koshiro and others came to the door and learned that Levi was going to compete with Koshiro in swordsmanship. Everyone became excited. The 7-star sword in Levi's hand was unsheathed, and then his long sword tilted toward the ground. Although he did not speak anymore, a majestic breath was already coming out of his body. There was a flash of light above Koshiro's glasses, and then the Wado Ichimonji in his hand was unsheathed. The two of them sent out a slash at the same time, and then their bodies ran quickly, because it was a kendo duel. Levi's devil fruit ability and his boxing skills were not used. The sword energy of the two people continued to move vertically and horizontally, leaving Zoro stunned. Hey, Zoro, who is this uncle? Zoro was in a trance when he suddenly heard a childish voice. A short-haired girl wearing a white half-sleeve dress appeared in front of Zoro at some point. She was Koshiro's daughter Kuina. She is Zoro's biggest rival in this dojo. He came to challenge Mr. Koshiro. I originally thought this guy was an ordinary swordsman, but I didn't expect him to fight the teacher to such an extent. Zoro's eyes flashed with little stars. He still remembered this strong man. He said he wanted to learn swordsmanship with him. Boom! An extremely explosive sound echoed throughout the dojo, and then Koshiro's figure quickly retreated. The Wadao Yiji in his hand was heavily inserted into the ground, which stopped his retreat. At this moment, his continuous voice was full of sweat. Mr. Levi's swordsmanship is so superb that I, Koshiro, can't stand it. Koshiro smiled bitterly at Levi. At this moment, the entire dojo was in a mess, and the second floors of all buildings were chopped off. This was Levi's deliberate move. Levi could feel that Koshiro did not exert his full strength. Even so, he still exerted at least 80% of his strength. Levi was also very satisfied with his swordsmanship. Father, wipe your sweat. Kuina handed a towel to Koshiro, while she kept looking at Levi with her big eyes. This was the first time she saw a swordsman who could defeat her father, so she couldn't help but look at Levi a few more times. Is this your daughter? Levi asked Koshiro. That's right, little girl. Koshiro smiled. The strength is pretty good. It feels like she is not yet an adult, but she already has strength in her body that is not inferior to that of an adult. Levi praised. It's a pity that she is a girl after all. My training method, Ma Jiao, is not suitable for women. She will not be able to become a swordsman after all. Koshiro sighed. As soon as his words came out, Kuina's head lowered, her fists clenched tightly, and she felt hatred for her body again. Not necessarily. Aren't there a lot of female swordsmen in the Grand Line? As for the issue of physical strength, wouldn't it be better to just find one of Zone's devil fruit? Levi stroked Kuina's head and comforted her. Are you telling the truth, Mr. Levi? Kuina raised her head in surprise. Mr. Levi is a stronger man than his father, so what he said must be right. For a moment, Kuina's heart full of longing. Look, what happened over there? Ivikov asked, pointing to the fire in the distance. That place is the kingdom of Goa. Long and Koshiro looked at each other, and they both had a bad feeling in their hearts. Chapter 136. Teaching the Way of Swordsmanship. Please subscribe. Mr. Levi, didn't you agree to compete with me? It was just dawn the next day when Levi was woken up by Zoro. Levi had stayed up late yesterday to exchange ideas on kendo with Koshiro, and Levi told him that in order to commemorate their duel, only one level of the dojo would be built in the future. Later, Long used the phone bug to tell them that in order to welcome the arrival of the celestial dragons, the kingdom of Goa burned all the things they considered garbage, just to satisfy the pervert lust of the celestial dragons. The kingdom of Goa is also known as a model in the entire East Blue because this country is spotless and there is no trace of dirt in the entire country. Because of this, almost all celestial dragons will stay here when they travel to East Blue. The dragon also told them that they picked up a child with a burned face in the Sea of Goa Kingdom. In order not to delay treatment, They did not return to Shimotsuki village, but returned directly to the base of the Revolutionary Army. Levi also expressed envy for the Revolutionary Army's behavior of having bases all over the world. The Revolutionary Army also understood the principle of obscene development, and I also agreed with Levi's concept of rural areas surrounding cities and seizing power with armed force. Levi looked at the expectant green algae head in front of him and became more and more unkind. This guy is really expressionless. Zoro, have you done your 950 morning class? Levi asked with a kind face. It won't be too late for me to do it after Mr. Levi discusses with me, Zoro said enthusiastically. Zoro, the practice of swordsmanship is something that a swordsman needs to implement throughout his life. The so-called journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Morning lessons are the most important point for a swordsman. How can you do it because of a small sparring session? Have you given up on your roots? Levi said with a gloomy look, Zoro, your temperament is too impetuous, you need to change it. I know I was wrong. I'm going to do my morning lessons now. Thank you Mr. Levi for your teaching. Zoro bowed fiercely to Levi, and then he dragged his sword and went to do his morning lessons. Zoro, in order to impress you more, today's morning class will be increased tenfold, Levi shouted to Zoro. I understand, Mr. Levi. Zoro shouted loudly. When Levi got up, Zoro was still practicing his sword, sweating profusely. Levi laughed proudly. Young man, you are still far from fighting me. Mr. Levi, please have a meal. Kuina was wearing a white swordsman uniform, and she was holding a black dinner plate with a small bowl of porridge and some side dishes on it. Kuina obviously has more dishes than Zoro. The light porridge paired with delicious side dishes makes Levi feel very satisfied. Mr. Levi, didn't you say that I can become a swordsman? Please teach me, sir. Kuina bowed to Levi. This little girl could really hold her breath. She didn't bring up the ideas she had hidden in her heart until Levi was about to leave. If she still remembered what Levi said last night that she could become a swordsman. Kuina, Zoro, what do you think is the most important thing about Kenshi practice? Levi asked the two children in front of him. Faster speed, stronger strength, and tougher endurance. Zoro replied loudly. This guy did 10 times the training in the morning, and after lying like a dead dog for half an hour, he became lively and energetic again. Kuina also nodded along with Zoro. This is what her father taught them. Levi smiled and shook his head. No, this is a common skill for all combat professionals. Do you know why among the 18 kinds of weapons, only swordsman is a separate title? And an axeman who doesn't use an axe, or a stickman who uses a stick? Now Kuina and Zoro couldn't answer Levi's question. After all, it was too profound for two teenagers to think about these things. Levi said seriously. Of course, physical fitness is the foundation when practicing swordsmanship. You are right to think so, but this is only what the lowest level swordsmen pursue, but for swordsmen who can strike, what they pursue is also it's a new realm. For a strong swordsman, the moment he masters the sword's will, his body is no longer the factor that determines his combat strength. Levi said to them. Sword intent. Kuina and Zoro muttered words that were completely unfamiliar to them, and they remembered the changes in Levi and Koshiro's breath during the decisive battle. Yes, sword intent. Sword intention is the artistic conception of the sword, the realm of the swordsman. The intention is the unity of form, spirit, emotion, and the coordination of reality and reality. It is both born from accidents and contained in the image. It is a very high state. When you touch the sword the moment you realize your intention, nothing in this world can stop you from moving towards the strongest path. Next, I will show you the existence of sword intent. You all can feel it with your heart. After Levi finished speaking, he picked up a slender branch from the ground. When you master the sword's will, plants, trees, bamboos and rocks can turn into huge swords, just like this. After Levi finished speaking, he took the branch in his hand and waved it toward the sea. Kuina and Zoro only felt an invisible majestic aura appear on Levi's body, and then Levi's eyes became extremely majestic. Whoosh! As the branches swayed, a white light floated from the branch in Levi's hand toward the sea. Boom! With a loud noise, the entire sea surface was split in half by Levi's sword energy, and even the bottom of the sea was cut into a deep ravine by Levi. Endless seawater surged from both sides of the attack, and the entire sea surged with huge waves. It's too exaggerated. Kuina and Zoro's eyes almost jumped out of their sockets. They were shocked and speechless when they looked at the mark cut out on the sea. Levi's slash has the power to break the sea. Okay, there's only so much I can teach you, and it's time for me to leave, Levi said with a smile. Mr. Levi, please don't leave. Okay. I'll cook for you every day, Kuina said reluctantly, holding Levi's arm. No, I still have my own journey to go. Levi touched Kuina's little head. Then I will come to you in the future, Mr. Levi, and I will make the great swordsman Kuina's command resound throughout the sea. Kuina made a solemn promise to Levi. And I will also become the world's best swordsman. One day I will surpass Mr. Levi. Zoro also swore loudly. Haha, I'm waiting for you above the sea. Levi left Shimotsuki village while laughing. Chapter 137 Nami and Arlong. Please order the full version, please customize. Boss, look what I found on the boat, Kid said to Levi as soon as he got on the boat. Kid was holding a little Lolita with short orange hair in his hand. The little Lolita was flopping around at the moment. Let me go, I'm just too hungry, the little Loli said pitifully. Really? A girl with tattoos at such a young age is not a good person at first glance, and it is also the first time I have seen someone who went directly to the captain's cabin to find food instead of going to the kitchen on board the ship. Asterisk Kid sneered. This is the logo of the Dragon Pirates. Levi knew immediately when he saw the tattoo on her arm that the little girl in front of him was Nami. Nami was adopted by Marine Belle Mere when she was a child. Later, the fishman Arlong occupied her village, killed her adoptive mother, and forced her to draw navigation charts for the Arlong pirates. Nami endured the humiliation and made a contract with Arlong to use 100 million belly. After buying her village, Nami is now stealing money to save 100 million belly. Your name is Nami? Levi asked with a smile. How did you know? Seeing that Levi didn't look like a bad guy, Nami's originally nervous mood became relieved. Captain, don't be deceived by her appearance, she is a thief. Kid immediately became anxious. Okay, Kid, go and do your business. Levi sent Kid away. Seeing that the vicious Kid was gone, Nami breathed a sigh of relief. She said in a pitiful tone, Sir, I'm just a lost child, can you let me go? Nami's big eyes were filled with tears. Every time she was caught in the past, she could get away by using this trick. Others would let her go if they saw that she was just a child. How much are you short of the ransom now? Levi suddenly asked. There are still 93.52 million Baileys left. Nami replied subconsciously. Then she seemed to realize something and opened her mouth in surprise. Are you a monster? How do you know about me? Nami asked in horror. Because I can hear your heart. How about making a deal? I'll help you get rid of Arlong, and you become my navigator. Is that fair? Levi said with a smile. Are you also a pirate? Nami looked at Levi with a very unkind look, because in her eyes, all pirates were not good people. That's right. Levi replied with a shrug. No, I will save 100 million belly to redeem my village. Nami firmly rejected Levi. She would not believe the pirate's words. Let's do this. Let's make a bet. I will give you 100 million belly now. If Arlong takes the money and leaves your village, then I lose. I will leave your village and never appear in front of you again, Levi said. Really? What if I lose? Nami's eyes were full of disbelief, because a bet gave away 100 million belly, and Levi didn't look like such a fool. If Arlong still won't let go of your village after taking the money, then I will help you get rid of Arlong. If the conditions remain unchanged, you will become my navigator. You will not suffer any loss. Do you want to take a gamble? Levi asked. Nami thought carefully for a long time, and finally she said with a smile, It's a deal. Nokagao, everyone, I'm back. When Levi's big ship arrived at Kokoja village, Nami could not wait to run towards the village. After she saw the gold in the cabin of Levi's ship, her eyes suddenly turned into two shining Bailey symbols. Nami, why did you come back so soon this time? Asked a little Loli who was slightly older than Nami. She is Nami's sister, Nokagao. When Nami joined the Arlong pirates, her sister was always supporting her. That's enough, Nami said breathlessly. After Nami took a breath, he told Nokagao about the incident. All the villagers were immediately alarmed. They pushed the carts towards Levi's boat. After they filled the gold, they headed towards Levi's boat. Arlong went to paradise. Boss, the villagers from Kokoja village came in with carts of gold. One of Arlong's subordinates came in and reported to Arlong. Please give me flowers. How is this possible? Arlong stood up subconsciously. 100 million belly is not a small amount. How long did it take for these villagers to save enough? How is this possible? Let's go out and take a look. Arlong led his men towards the outside of the manor. Master Arlong, this is 100 million belly. Our promise has been fulfilled. Nami smiled extremely happily. She felt that the mountain that was weighing on her heart was about to be lifted. She felt that she was about to fly with joy. Boss, the count is complete. It's more than 100 million Baileys, Xiao Ba said in Arlong's ear. Nami, where did you get so much money? Arlong asked with a smile. 0. This has nothing to do with you. Our agreement has been completed, please leave. Nami turned her face away. She didn't want to look at Arlong for one more second now. All shipped. The fishmen were busy moving all the gold to the boat. Nami, we meet again. After all the gold was loaded onto the ship, the fishman pirates jumped off the ship again. Nami suddenly had an unknown premonition in her heart. What do you mean, Lord Arlong? Nami trembled, almost crying. It's very simple. We have left just now, and now we are back. You have to save another 100 million belly as a ransom for your existence. Before you save 100 million belly, I will kill one person a month. Don't listen. Do you understand? Arlong lay comfortably on the beach chair. How could this happen? Nami collapsed on the ground in despair, and the other villagers felt like they were about to explode. Nami, I won this bet. Levi suddenly appeared in front of Nami and helped her up. Levi, why is it you? Arlong shouted in surprise. He did not expect to see Levi in a remote place like East Blue. Mr. Levi, help us. Nami lay in Levi's arms and cried. She had been working hard for the goal of 100 million belly. Only today did she realize that all her efforts were just a waste of time. Joke at. Chapter 138. Nami and Nokagao join the gang. Please order the full version, please customize. Hawkins, kid, don't beat them to death, give them to Eric. His bounty hunter guild has just been established and needs some credit. Levi said to Kid. The Kira brothers and Hawkins who beat up the Murloc group, said. Afterwards, Levi picked up Nami and walked towards the village. Mr. Levi, why don't they keep their word? Nami buried his head in the pillow, her voice full of helplessness at this moment. Because you don't have the same strength as Arlong and others, it's because of your weakness that they can overturn the table at any time. Being weak is the original sin. Levi comforted her, stroking her hair. Weakness is the original sin, Nami murmured to himself. Nami, let's have something to eat. Noxian walked in with a bowl of ion omelette rice. 000. Nuo Kagao looked at the man in the room with awe. This man's subordinates were so powerful that they were regarded as demonic murlocs by the villagers in the past. As fragile as a group of children in this man's hands, they easily knocked the group of murlocs to the ground. Finally, a wave of people came and took Arlong and his group away. Leave her alone. Levi and Nokagao took her out. Mr. Levi, I wonder what conditions you and Nami have reached? Nokagao asked Levi after leaving. Now Nami's condition makes her very worried, she didn't even eat her favorite orange omelette rice today. The answer is simple, I made her fly Poseidon, Levi said to Nuo. So, Nami is leaving East Blue, is that right? Nokagao felt her heart being severely tugged. Nami and her adoptive mother had been dependent on each other for many years. Her adoptive mother was killed by Arlong, and now even her sister Nami will leave her soon. Mr. Levi, can I go with you? Noki said, biting her lip. She also heard everything Levi said to Nami just now, especially the sentence about weakness being the original sin, which made her feel shocked. Because of her outstanding talent as a navigator, Nami kept wandering on this dangerous sea as a child. However, Nokagao could only watch Nami come back scarred every time, and she could only I cried silently in my heart. Of course, Nokagao. Levi also said he was very happy that Nokiko took the initiative to follow him. Nami is still young, so it would be perfect if Nokiko could follow her. But I don't have the talent for sailing, Nokagao said worriedly. Nokagao, in addition to navigators, there are several people who are indispensable on this sea, such as chefs and doctors. Levi said to Nokagao. Ah, is a cook so important on a ship? Nokagao knew that she didn't like studying medicine either. She only likes to cook, and it seems that only a chef is the most suitable for her. Of course it is important. The chef is the most important logistics person on the ship. The chef not only has to make delicious food for everyone on the ship, but also has balanced nutrition. The presence of the chef can prevent scurvy. Levi told Nuoki High Science Road. Really? Then I will become a chef, Nuokagao said excitedly. Mr. Levi, let's go. After a night of adjustment, Nami's mood also adjusted, and Levi also keenly noticed that the tattoo of the dragon pirates on Nami's hand had disappeared, replaced by the pattern of oranges and windmills. Nuo Chigao's tattoo was also changed to the pattern of oranges and windmills. Let's go, Nokagao said to Nami. Where are you going, Nokagao? Nami asked in surprise. Let's travel together with you. You will be the navigator and I will be the cook. Nuo Chigao laughed. Really? That's great. Nami hugged Nokagao excitedly. Let's go. I asked the residents to take care of our orange tree last night. Nokagao and Nami glanced at each other, and then they boarded Levi's ship and headed for the distance. Nokagao, Nami, when you have your own ship, you can transplant these orange trees to your own ship. Really? That's great, Mr. Levi. Nojigao and Nami said in surprise. With Levi gone, peace returned to Kokoja village again. Recently, there is a new news circulating on the sea. A new news has come from the Drum Kingdom, which has a kingdom of medical skills. That is, the Drum Kingdom will build the world's largest hospital, and this hospital will also recruit medical doctors from all over the world. If you are a student, of course you will have to pay a large tuition fee, and you will also have to serve in this hospital for free for 3 years. As soon as this news came out, all the doctors were excited. The Drum Kingdom is the crystallization of world medicine, and it has to face all kinds of diseases and injuries on the sea. Now the Drum Kingdom is willing to recruit doctors from all over the world. Suddenly all the doctors flocked to her. Doctors are a very respected profession in this world. As long as your medical skills are similar, people will come to you for treatment. Therefore, the income of doctors is very generous. Because doctors all over the world are running to the Drum Kingdom, how can the world government allow this to happen? Half a month later, Wapol, the king of the Drum Kingdom, issued another decree. This time only those under the age of 20 will be admitted. Young doctors were required to pass the exam before they could enroll. Only then did the craze slowly subside. Levi also saw the news. It seemed that Luo's work was going very smoothly, and Levi was also very happy. Now Levi is on the way to Zybro village, and his bid for 3.5 this time is Kaya. Kaya's family is the richest man in Zybro village, so she was born with the qualities of a rich girl. As rumored, Kaya has long, playful light blonde hair and a book that never leaves her hand. I don't know how to be as fair and beautiful as Kaya. Being able to look down on a poor boy like Usopp, Levi had to lament the magic of fate. When Levi came this time, he had already brought the admission notice from the Drum Kingdom. In other words, Kaya was considered a special admission to the medical school. Kaya's parents were also very happy about Levi's arrival, because they knew that their daughter liked medicine, and doctors were also a respected profession that was also suitable for girls, so they readily agreed to Levi's East visit. The blue trip can be considered completely completed. Chapter 139. Zephyr's broken arm, please customize, please order in full. Wow, what an amazing place. At this moment, Levi and others are riding on Napoleon soaring into the sky. The ship below has turned into a small black spot. The place they are going to is the small sky island Visalia. The island is made up of mostly clouds and a small part of land. Now there is an extremely strange weather condition on this island. A rainbow has appeared in the west of the island, while in the east there are lightning and thunder. Boss Levi is here, let this rain go away. Enel had already sensed Levi's position, so he said to the group of old men in robes. Then a huge cannonball shot into the clouds. With a loud noise, the dark clouds in the sky suddenly dispersed. Because it had just rained, the entire island exuded a fresh smell of earth. Master Levi, welcome. This group of old men gathered around Levi enthusiastically. Levi directly asked Tezolo to give them 10 billion belly this time. This made these old men no longer worry about their own research funds, and they could concentrate on academic research. These 15 gates are so majestic, Nami exclaimed as he looked at the huge gate in front of him. The pillars of this gate are entirely made of golden clouds, and then a corridor formed by a row of white cloud pillars directly connects to the distance. This building makes full use of the clouds of Sky Island, making the entire building appear ethereal and fairy-like. Gas. This little girl has good eyesight. This is the masterpiece of my husband. My name is Heleda and he is the dean of Visalia College. A hale and hearty old man with a goatee walked out with a smile. This old guy was originally the ruler of this island, and now he is the dean of this college. Enel explained for Levi. Levi understood what Enel meant. Before Enel came, he was the ruler of Visalia. After Enel came, the ruler of this country became Enel. After that, Levi visited the Navigator Academy. The facilities here are very complete, and the most crazy thing is that the dormitories here are actually single dormitories, which is full of aristocratic treatment. Okay, Nami, Nuochi Gao, you will study here for a while. When I find a good chef, I will take Nuochi Shi to study. Levi comforted the two little Lolita. Levi originally wanted to place Nokagao with Jeppu, but he didn't expect that Nami didn't want to be separated from Nokagao. Later, Levi decided to recruit another chef for the colleges in Visalia, but Levi didn't have a suitable candidate yet. Boss, I want to go to the moon during this time. It's our hometown. When Levi was about to leave, Enel said to Levi. Go if you want. Levi knew that Enel had wanted to go to the moon for a long time. Now he goes to the moon much earlier than before, but his strength is also much stronger than in the original plot. Now that Kid and Hawkins are still waiting below, Levi will not delay any longer. Captain, there seems to be a fight ahead, and the Pirate King is attacking Marine. Kid shouted into the cabin. At this moment, Levi was also alarmed. His observation hockey was fully open and he instantly saw the scene ahead. At this moment, a burly fat man was chopping Marine with a big knife. This guy was obese, with a lot of meat on his upper body but very thin legs. He also had a crescent-shaped white beard. Isn't this Whitebeard too Edward Wable? Levi didn't expect to meet this guy on the sea. Wable had something wrong with his brain and looked like a retard. At this moment, there was a guy beside him. The little old lady who was less than 1.5 meters tall seemed to be his mother. Damn pirate, I kindly let you go last time, but you still dared to come? Zephyr roared angrily. My mother said that I am the son of 4 Emperors Whitebeard, and losing to you will be a lifelong shame. I want to wipe away this stain with my own hands. Wable sniffed hard and said. Finger pistol. Zephyr's arm turned black, and then countless air bullets were fired at Wable. After the attack dissipated, Zephyr's eyes widened in surprise. His finger pistol did not leave any scars on Wable's body. It really has a monster-like body. Zephyr was also shocked by Wable's physical strength. Wable had already been seriously injured under his finger pistol back then, and now he couldn't even break Wable's defense. It hurts so much, I'm going to beat you to death. The naginata in Wable's hand was raised high, and then an inexplicable aura gathered on him. Although the short-haired female marine behind him kept attacking with her double guns, 10 ninja-looking people appeared in their hands and stalked Wable. But Wable was not affected at all. Under his long knife, all the marine corpses were constantly turning into pieces, and he spun and chopped towards Zephyr. Too arrogant, pirate. Zephyr's arm moved toward the naginata holder. During the battle, he always relied on the super strong armament hockey-armed wrist, and then relied on the super strong arm strength to break the pirate's weapons. This is the origin of his title. Ah! Zephyr let out a scream, and a small section of his right arm was cut off. Wable's strength was too great, and Zephyr was already old. The price of his failure this time was that he lost his right hand forever. Teacher Zephyr! Ain screamed anxiously, and then a ray of light emerged from her hand and went towards Zephyr's arm. But except for making Zephyr's arm look smoother, it had no real effect. How come it doesn't work? Ain shouted anxiously. I'll stop this monster, you guys run away. Zephyr pushed Ain away and stood up again. Kill them all. The old lady next to Wabel laughed like a pervert. Please stop here and give me some face. Wabel was about to cut down with his broadsword when he suddenly heard someone talking next to him. Who dares to disturb my son? Miss Ba-jin screamed, and when she saw Levi's figure, she screamed again. After that, Whitebeard too and her mother escaped on the boat. Although they were arrogant, they had no confidence in Levi. Overcome. I didn't expect that I would be rescued by pirates. How ironic. Zephyr lay on the ground and kept panting. Ain and Binz looked at Levi warily. Don't think too much, I just don't want to see my former opponent hacked to death by an unknown pirate. After Levi said that, he floated away in the big ship again, leaving only the broken marine warship. He was telling about the tragedy just now. Chapter 140. Hibernation. Please customize, please order in full. The next day, a headline appeared in the newspaper. The marine trainee ship led by the former Marine Admiral Zephyr was attacked. Zephyr's right arm was cut off by the pirates Whitebeard II and Edward Wabel. Except for Ain and Binz, except for this, the rest of the Marines were completely destroyed. As soon as this news came out, the whole world was shocked. How's Zephyr doing? In Marineford's office, Sengoku got the news immediately. He was stunned for a moment, and his mind recalled Zephyr's journey in Marine over the years. Zephyr is a Marine in the same class as Sengoku and Garp. Zephyr joined the army at the age of 14, and participated in actual combat for the first time at the age of 18. He became a corporal at the age of 28 and learned the 6 moves. He became a Marine Admiral at 38. His family was killed by pirates at the age of 42. After that, he retained the rank of Admiral and transferred to the second-line training Marine recruit. Now he is a Marine Admiral. They're all his students. Teacher Zephyr's right arm was broken, and almost all the interns were wiped out. Teacher Pungfa's spirit was also greatly affected. Aokiji's words brought Sengoku back from his thoughts. After that, Zephyr rested completely, and the storm on the entire sea calmed down. Levi came to Nine Snakes Island, and from then on he lived a shameless life with Hancock and Reiju every day, teaching the Nine Snakes warriors in his free time. Kid, Kira and Hawkins are practicing hockey on other islands of Nine Snakes. Their hockey is a little behind compared to Levi's other men, so they are also training hard. Shanks lost an arm when he came back from East Blue, and he told Levi that he bet the arm on East Blue. Hawkeye also lost an arm because of Shanks, and he no longer competes with Shanks. In the past few years, Shanks and Kaido had a big battle, with no winner or loser, which calmed down the pirates who were originally about to take action because Shanks lost an arm. Marine's Shichibukai system also greatly distracted the attention of pirates. Countless pirates also regarded Shichibukai as an appetizer before challenging the 4 emperors, but they all failed under the terrifying force of Shichibukai. Since Roger's death, Levi's pirate class is the most powerful one, with countless overlords. It seems that this class has used up all the luck of the pirates in the next few years, and the entire sea there have never been monsters as powerful as theirs in the world. Tezzolo's Grand Tesser, was finally completed with the help of Tom and began to become famous throughout the sea. He also became the hottest star in the world. Countless Marines and pirates called their place paradise. As long as you can think of all the entertainment projects here, there is a rumor that can exaggerate the horror of this entertainment city. From the time a person is born to the time he dies at the age of 200, even if he plays here all the time, he will never be able to play all the projects on this ship until he dies. There were even celestial dragons who came to play there. After he saw Tezzolo's luxury, he smashed his palace when he returned home and rebuilt it with pure gold. I heard that he had not yet it went bankrupt as soon as it was built. Some people say that Gilder Tetzolo controls 20% of the world's Pele. Countless amounts of money have been continuously imported from all over the world. The Revolutionary Army has received huge financial help. Their liberation movement has developed vigorously. They have liberated several participating countries and are regarded as a serious problem by the world government. At the World Summit of Mariejois in Sea Circle Calendar 1514, the theme this time was how to prevent the Revolutionary Army. After the Golden City of Tetzolo was built, Tom's disciple Ace Baku finally merged and integrated all the well-known shipyards in the 7 water capitals and re-cooperated with the world government, making Carrera Company the official shipbuilder of the world government factory. Because of this heavy protection from the world government, Spandam could no longer take action. He could only entrust CP9's Rob Lucci, Khalifa, Kaku, Bluno and others to lurk in. The next year, in order to take care of Ace Baku, he also quietly sneaked into the 7 water capitals, took in many gangsters and homeless people, and established Frankie's family, which mainly engaged in dismantling and destroying ships, and served as a bounty hunter for the Alec Guild. Eric's Bounty Hunter Guild has also prospered because of Levi's support, making East Blue a sea area where the strength of pirates is completely lower than that of Marine. Under his leadership, there is no pirate in the entire East Blue. A pirate worth over 20 million belly. Not only that, but bounty hunters from the Eric Guild can also be seen in the seas of other places. This guild is also known as a rising star after the Seidel Guild. The gangs in West Blue have also been integrated by Capone Bede. He is indeed the man Levi likes. After the destruction of the 5 major mafia families, the gang founded by this man became the underground emperor of West Blue. West Blue is also the only one who can do anything for him. Levi's income-generating waters. The Kingdom of Flowers in South Blue provided Levi with many excellent sailors. The Navy of the Flower Kingdom also established a security company. They specially provided protection for merchants sailing on the Grand Line, making the relationship between pirates and marine a new profession has emerged, security. The Kingdom of Germa in North Blue is also booming with Levi's continuous provision of funds and materials. Now the nearly 10,000 black soldiers on the Tesolo ship are all clone soldiers of Germa, and in the Kingdom of Germa below, there are countless clone soldiers lying in countless petri dishes, waiting to mature. Baby 5 has finally digested all the technology on Guam, and her weapon fruit has been developed to the verge of awakening. Monet and Sugar have already arrived at Tesolos due to work reasons. On the Golden Ship, only Breed was accompanying her. Perona, Nami, and Bibo are all studying at the Navigator Academy, and Marine is not to be outdone. Marines such as Tashigi also joined the Navigator Academy. Enel discovered the remains of the lunar people on the moon, where he became the Emperor of the Earth. Levi planned to send the baby there after a while to let her continue to learn some lunar weapon theories. Luo's medical school is also booming, and the medical skills of the Drum Kingdom are also called the best in the world by everyone. The people lurking now are waiting for Levi's call. If Levi gives an order, they will burst out with the power that the whole world wants. Chapter 141 New Mission, Wanokuni, please customize, please order in full. The sea is really the most forgettable place. Levi drank from Rayleigh's wine bowl in one gulp. Rayleigh joked. Yes, nowadays, all the talk on the sea is about Mr. Whitehorse and Fire Fist Ace. Levi, who was making trouble on the sea back then, is no longer known by the pirates. Now that Levi has come to the Sabodi archipelago, the Kid Kira brothers and Hawkins have completed their training, and they are also preparing to recruit people to carry out their pirate journey. Everyone has their own trajectory, and now Luo is also preparing to step down as the director of the medical school. His strength has qualified him to fight Ming Jie, so he is also preparing to go to sea. Hancock's sweet fruit has also reached the edge of awakening. Now she is practicing in seclusion every day and has no time to deal with Levi at all. And Reiju also returned to the Kingdom of Germa, so Levi came to see Rayleigh for a drink. A new generation replaces the old, so that the times can develop, isn't it? Levi said to Rayleigh. The two of them drank from noon to night, and Levi hadn't had such a good time drinking for a long time. Levi then left Shaggy's bar drunk. Ding. Sign in at Wanokuni, sign in reward, top 687 swordsmanship. Levi was startled for a moment. He woke up from most of his wine. His system had been silent for a long time. As he became stronger and stronger, the number of system check-ins became less and less. It has been more than 10 years since he last checked in, and the system's check-in task finally came again. Over the years, Levi's physical fitness and hockey's training have reached the top level in the world. Only his swordsmanship is still slightly inferior. Now his last shortcoming is about to be made up for. Wanokuni is a country located in the second half of the Grand Line. Wanokuni is a powerful swordsman in the New World and is famous for its swordsmanship. It is a closed country that never welcomes outsiders, does not join the world government, and even marine ships cannot enter. Residents of this country are accustomed to wearing ancient Japanese-style kimono clothes, communicating with others in a more traditional tone, and calling powerful swordsmen samurai. The top leader of Wanokuni is called Shogun, and the top leader of the region is called Big. The hometown of Ryoma, the dragon-slaying samurai, Ryoma was a hero between Japan, and his sword, Shui, was also praised as a treasure by Wanokuni. Many years ago, an unknown person was killed because of Ryoma's grave. The damage, missing body, and the subsequent disappearance of the famous sword, Shui, made the people of Wanokuni nationwide sad and angry. Therefore, the residents of the country are still obsessed with the concept of finding Shui and returning it to their hometown. According to Levi's speculation, all Ryoma's bones and sword were stolen by Moria, because Moria's shadow fruit requires the body of a strong man, and Zoro later met Ryoma's bones and his sword in the Devil's Delta. Wanokuni has been ruled by the Kazuki family since ancient times. The Kazuki family, also known as the Stonemason family, was a family that contributed to the recording of historical texts and was able to interpret the ancient characters of historical texts. The Kazuki family is served by 5 daimyo families: Tenjetsu, Shimotsuki, Fugetsu, Ugetsu, and Kurozumi. See Circle Calendar. In 1494, the Kurozumi family conspired to rebel. Kurozumi Orochi and Kurozumi Higurashi secretly killed General Kazuki Sukiyaki, and Kurozumi Orochi became the ruler. Later, Kurozumi formed a partnership with the pirate Kaido to turn Wanokuni into a weapons producer. Kaido's Beasts pirates were also stationed in Wanokuni. In other words, Wanokuni is Kaido's home base. Should we go to Zou Island to look for Momotaro and others? This idea only appeared in Levi's mind for a moment before he threw it behind him. Not to mention that Momonosuke and the others came to Zou Island 5 years after the plot. It is still unknown whether they were transferred from the past to the future by Mrs. Toki. The most important thing is that when he thinks of Momonosuke's wretched face and the advantage of beauties such as Na, BFCD, May, Levi can't help but feel angry in his heart. Momonosuke must die. Levi mainly wanted to go to Zou Island to visit Pedro. He remembered that the fur tribe had a little rabbit named Garrett who was very pretty. Levi wanted to turn her into his subordinate. It seems that the trip to Zoe Island can only wait until behind. Levi remembered that Wano-kuni was a special area with no open sea coast and only cliffs and waterfalls around it. After going up there is the inland sea, which contains the main island of Wano-kuni and Onigashima. The main island is divided into 6 areas, namely Kuri, Nozomi, Usagiwan, Suzugo, Shiriomai, and Flower City. Because of Wano-kuni's special geographical environment, it is difficult for ships to reach Wano-kuni, so Levi decided to fly there. Zeus! Zeus! Levi shouted loudly, and as Levi's voice fell, a white cloud slowly floated down from the sky. Levi, Sky Island is so fun. When will you take me to play again? Sky Island is so big, there should be mother clouds, right? Zeus's expression was full of longing. Save it. There are no female clouds in a place like Nine Snakes where there are only women. How can there be female clouds on Sky Island? Levi attacked mercilessly. Zeus's expression suddenly became depressed. Where are you going this time? I'm going to Wano-kuni. Wano-kuni, I have never been to this country and I don't know if the food in this country is delicious or not. Zeus is indeed a foodie. He was thinking about women just now, but his attention was diverted in the blink of an eye. Levi, let's go quickly, Zeus urged. There's no rush, it's a long way to Wano-kuni, we need to prepare some supplies. Levi smiled at Zeus. Afterwards, Levi and Zeus headed towards the commercial street of Sabodi Archipelago. Wano-kuni is an extremely xenophobic country. If Levi wants to integrate into Wano-kuni, he must first buy a kimono. Sabodi Archipelago is indeed the most prosperous island in the world. Levi had already prepared everything he wanted to prepare in less than half a street. Levi, who is dressed in a kimono as white as snow, looks more and more charming. Now Levi is only 27 years old, which is a person's most golden years. Even Zeus swapped out his baseball cap for a Wano-kuni style hat. Levi, why did you buy so much food? It's so heavy, Zeus complained. Levi's food was prepared for the residents of Wano-kuni. In Levi's memory, Wano-kuni is now full of pollution, and he wants to bribe Xiao Yu with these things. Okay, let's go to Wano-kuni, Levi shouted loudly. Chapter 142 Xiao Yu, please customize, please order in full. The waters outside Wano-kuni are really dangerous. Levi sat on Zeus and said with emotion, no wonder Wano-kuni can be closed to the country. There are such dangerous sea areas outside. Whether those who want to escape from Wano-kuni or those who want to go to Wano-kuni, they must face this test. The sea here is undulating, and the direction is extremely confusing. There are huge schools of carp constantly shuttled in the sea. Although he doesn't know why freshwater fish like carp are in the sea, Levi remembers that the direction the carp passed is Wano-kuni. Wano-kuni is close at hand. Levi followed the school of fish through a huge climbing waterfall, and then a big Uzumaki appeared in front of him. Levi immediately laughed, because Levi was sitting on Zeus, and he had already seen the country of Wano, the view behind you. Is this the village of Wiley? Levi landed on the beach. The people here looked very thin and malnourished. When they heard this, they looked up at Levi and said, this is Wiley village. What can I do for you? Levi couldn't help but sigh when he saw the miserable appearance of the people here. The people here were really miserable. Zeus. Levi shouted to the sky. Nu, Zeus responded, and then a sky full of food fell from the sky. This is food. Countless hungry people suddenly became excited. They started running around telling each other, and the whole village became lively. Did you do this? The old man who just answered the question could see clearly that the extraordinary warrior in front of him shouted, and then the food fell from the sky. I gave this to you. It would be great if you could give me another hat. Levi replied with a smile. He has been dealing with pirates and marines since he went to sea. This is the first time for him to face ordinary people directly. This feeling is very novel. Everyone, the food was given to us by this benefactor. Let's thank our benefactor. Following the old man's lead, everyone knelt down to Levi. That's not necessary. Let's eat quickly, Levi replied. Then his eyes scanned the crowd. Suddenly, Levi's eyes lit up and he found the person he was looking for. At this moment, the little girl with dark lilac hair, a bun, and a light green patched kimono was working hard to pick up food. She looked about 3 or 4 years old, with a round face and a cute look. It's a complete mess. What's your name, little girl? Levi asked with a smile. Sir, my name is Xiao Yu. Thank you for bringing food to the village. The little girl in front of him said to Levi in a sweet voice. Levi was overjoyed, he knew he had found his target. I have a gift for you, little girl. Levi smiled slightly, and as if by magic, a women's kimono appeared in his hand. This is a light green kimono dotted with tiny lilac flowers, and a light orange belt makes this kimono even more delicate. There was a look of envy in Xiao Yu's eyes, but she still said firmly, Sir, I like this dress very much, but I can't accept it. Our village has already accepted food gifts from adults, and we don't dare to ask for such a beautiful dress, clothes. Levi was also impressed by this little girl. Although she was only 3 or 4 years old, she was so sensible that it made people feel distressed. My lord, are you a samurai from outside? Xiao Yu asked. How did you tell? Levi asked himself, His clothes were already in line with the local customs. How could a 3 or 4-year-old girl spot it at a glance? Sir, your sword is different from our Wanokuni swords, and your temperament doesn't look like our Wanokuni people. Xiao Yu covered her mouth and chuckled. Sir, I don't know if Xiao Yu has offended you in any way. Fei Che has apologized to you. Please put her down. While Levi was chatting and joking with Xiao Yu, a masked man knelt down behind him. This guy had extremely strange body proportions, a huge head, and an extremely long nose. When he knelt down to worship Levi, his nose was already poking at the ground. Master Fei Che. Xiao Yu got off Levi's body and helped Fei Che up. Please give me flowers. What, are you here to challenge General Kurozumi and Kaido's samurai? Fighter exclaimed. When Levi told him the purpose of his trip, Fish immediately exclaimed. He had seen a few foreigners, but this was the first time he saw such a brave warrior. Brother Levi, don't go, they're very strong. Xiao Yu stopped him anxiously. In her opinion, this eldest brother is a good man and he will be very sad if he is killed by Kaido. Yes, Mr. Levi, since Kurozumi Orochi killed General Kazuki, countless samurai have launched revenge against Kurozumi Orochi and Kaido, but they were all defeated by Kaido's men, and they did not even see Kaido's face. Zero Fei Che seemed to be reminded of the past, and his eyes were full of fear. After that, Kaido built weapon forges all over Wanokuni, and countless craftsmen were captured. They destroyed our villages everywhere to capture slaves, and they also discharged the sewage from the forges into the earth, destroying the animals and fish on the entire earth. All are contaminated and inedible. Fei Che's tone was full of sadness. He is a descendant of the legendary swordsmith Ji Yu Che. In order to avoid Kaido's pursuit, he put on the Tengu mask. I'm very strong. Levi smiled softly, and then a terrifying aura emanated from his body. Although this aura only passed away in a flash, Fei Che was already sitting on the ground in fear. Is this strength enough to challenge Kurozumi Orochi? Levi asked Fighter. It's Fei Che who is blind. If you can really defeat Kaido, we residents of Wanokuni will never forget your kindness. Fei Che knelt down to Levi, and the young master also knelt down after seeing this. I need a guide, Xiao Yu, will you be my guide? Levi asked Xiao Yu. My daughter is willing, Xiao Yu nodded fiercely. Then put on these clothes. As my follower, you will be laughed at if you wear too shabby clothes. Levi took out the kimono again. Chapter 143. Special birthday party, please customize, please order in full. It really fits, big brother, Xiao Yu turned around happily. Fei Che suddenly felt very sad. He choked and said, today is Xiao Yu's birthday, but I am so useless as a master. I can't even sell a new dress for Xiao Yu. I am so useless. Don't say that, Master Fei Che, you are the greatest master in the world. Xiao Yu ran to Fei Che and comforted him. Brother, Xiao Yu is very happy today. Not only do we have delicious food today, but we also have new clothes to wear. Xiao Yu smiled brightly. Looking at Xiao Yu's pure smile, Levi also felt that a soft corner in his heart had been touched. He said seriously to Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu, I promise you that today is just the beginning, and you will be happier day by day. 500. Haha. Xiao Yu laughed happily. Since today is Xiao Yu's birthday, let me go get some delicious food. Levi looked into the distance. Is there delicious food in this castle? Levi and Xiao Yu are now riding on a large yellow poodle. This is a Koma dog that is as big as an elephant and is a specialty of Wanokuni. This kind of dog is not only fast but also extremely stable, making it a very good mount. Yes, brother, the manor on this mountain grows food directly supplied to General Kurozumi. The food here is pure and pollution-free, Xiao Yu said, pointing to the manor on the mountain. Okay, then rush in. Levi's eyes flashed, and then the huge door broke into two parts silently. In the center of this manor, there is a huge treasure ship. The ship is piled with all kinds of food, which looks fragrant. The people in the manor stared at Levi blankly. They were all shocked by the way Levi appeared. Only when Levi put the rope in front of the treasure ship around Komachio did these guys react. No, that's food for General Kurozumi and Lord Kaido. You can't touch it. A dog-like ability user shouted, and then a sharp whistle alerted the entire manor, and countless people energy users with animal heads were pouring in from all over the villa. What a hassle. Levi's Conqueror's Haki was released, and people fell down one after another. In the end, only a centaur woman with half black and half hair was left. I am Kaido's subordinate who is responsible for guarding Bola town in Jiuli district. You put down the treasure ship, otherwise there will be big trouble. Speed felt that her 4 legs were trembling. The man in front of her was so powerful. It was so terrifying that Speed felt like the person standing in front of him was Kaido. No, here you go. Xiao Yu rubbed a small ball from her face and handed it to Speed. What is this? Speed sniffed, and she felt an urge to eat it. Although she knew it was wrong, she couldn't help but eat it. It's so delicious. Speed suddenly became beaming and smiled. Levi could feel that Speed was originally full of hostility towards them, but now her attitude suddenly changed 180 degrees. This is my ability. Oyin Gao, now Ma Mei is our friend, Xiao Yu said with a smile. Very good ability, Xiao Yu. Levi also laughed. This is why Levi brought Xiao Yu here. With Xiao Yu's devil fruit ability, He can subdue Kaido's givers, which will provide Levi saves a lot of trouble. Xiao Yu, sir, let's leave quickly. The news here has alarmed Master Jack, otherwise we will be in big trouble when Master Jack comes. After Speed was transformed by Xiao Yu, she completely changed her camp, and also automatically accepted the title of Ma Mei. Xiao Yu, eat the apple. Levi handed a bright red apple to Xiao Yu, and at the same time he rushed Kochio down the mountain. It's so delicious. This is the most delicious fruit Xiao Yu has ever eaten. Xiao Yu became happy on Ma Mei's back, and then she handed the half-eaten apple to Ma Mei. It's really delicious, Xiao Yu. Ma Mei swallowed the whole apple in one mouthful, and she showed Xiao Yu a smile that looked like a horse. Boom. The big ship kept rushing towards the foot of the mountain. It made so much noise that the villagers in Jianlu village at the foot of the mountain were also alarmed. What is this sound? Is the Tushan bandits coming? While they were guessing, the figure of this treasure ship appeared in their field of vision. It's food. All the residents of Jialu village became excited, and they rushed out of the house one by one. Thank God, if I can eat enough, I can die with a peaceful eye, an old lady muttered. Brother, give them half of the food. Xiao Yu looked at these sallow and skinny people, and she remembered what happened to their village. Okay, it's up to you. Levi smiled, then waved his hand back, slashing the treasure ship diagonally into 1/3, and countless food sloping down along the gap. The entire residents of Jianlu village began to pick up food crazily and kept expressing their gratitude to Levi. This man is so scary. His true nature is definitely not inferior to Lord Odin. A woman in a goose yellow kimono said in shock. He knew that Wano Kuni was about to experience new turmoil. Is that a Jew? Levi also saw the person dressed up by this woman. From the appearance, she was 5.5 and a beautiful woman. There was no trace of a man at all. She was worthy of being Wanakuna's #1 women's clothing boss. Sir, what do you call me, so I can know who to thank? A Jew shouted to Levi. My eldest brother's name is Levi. Xiao Yu's laughter came. Levi? A Jew said this strange name, not knowing whether this man's appearance was good or bad for Wano Kuni. Everyone, we are back. In the evening, as the sun was setting, Levi and Xiao Yu also rushed back to the village, and brought so much food. Everyone, today is Xiao Yu's birthday. To celebrate, let's have a party. Levi shouted loudly. As his words fell, the atmosphere in the whole village suddenly became cheerful. Chapter 144 Jack and Zhu Tianwen attack. Please subscribe. What? The food dedicated to Lord Kaido was robbed, and even Speed rebelled. In the darkness, a big man started fighting. This guy is tall and muscular, with a ponytail and 2 braids, a metal jaw on his mouth, and 2 ivory-like decorations on his head and shoulders. He is Kaido sitting down the drought, the great pirate Jack with a bounty of 1 billion Baileys. At this moment, Jack felt like he was about to explode. Among the 3 disasters, he was originally the least qualified, and now he showed up to see something like this. How could he be embarrassed in front of Jin and Quinn? Take someone. I want to see who dares to cause trouble in Jiuli. Jack's eyes were bloodshot, and he was already on the verge of rage. His men did not dare to neglect, and they all hurriedly gathered together, so in the billowing smoke and dust, Jack's army rushed towards Wily village. What? Those poor ghosts from Wily village actually robbed the treasure ship dedicated to Kurozumi Orochi and Kaido. Among the Tushan thieves, a man with pink curly hair and a fat body climbed up from the back of the cow. He was Tushan, the backbone of the thieves group, Tenmaru. Follow me to Wenli village. I want to see why these poor people dared to rob the treasure ship. Shunmaru sneered. After that, everyone in the 15-headed mountain bandit group headed towards Wengli village. After a night of carnival, people in the entire Wily village have now fallen into a deep sleep. They have not held such a bonfire party for a long time, and everyone is having a great time. Master Levi, I wonder what your next move will be. Fei Che asked in awe. This man held a very meaningful birthday party for Xiao Yu. He could do these things for a child. Fighter believed that Levi was definitely not a bad person. He was the real warrior who came to defeat Kurozumi and Kaido. Now that the treasure ship has been robbed, we just need to wait here for the enemy. Come and kill one, come and kill two. Levi smiled kindly, but Fei Che felt a chill from the bottom of his heart. Let the villagers hide, they're coming. Levi ordered Fei Che. Levi's observation hockey has sensed Jack's traces, and an unexpected enemy has also arrived. You robbed us? As Jack arrived, a thin man with a goatee behind Jack asked Levi. The thing is right here, it doesn't have eyes. Levi pushed back without raising his head. What an arrogant boy, you should die. The man drew out a scimitar, jumped up high and slashed at Levi. Call out. An arrow was shot in the dense forest, and the arrow directly penetrated the goatee man, and he fell to the ground without saying a word. With a sound of stomping, Ma Mei dragged Xiao Yu and ran to Levi's side. Brother, I want to fight side by side with you. Xiao Yu's round face was full of determination. Don't worry, master, I will protect you. Ma Mei turned around and said to her. Speed, how could you betray a boss duo? Jack still can't figure this out. Speed knows Kaido's strength, isn't she afraid of Kaido's revenge? My master is Xiao Yu now. Speed said to Jack. Although there was still a look of fear on her face, she still admitted that she had rebelled. The traitor must die. Jack's eyes were bloodshot, and he took the two ivory-like swords in his hands. It's really lively today, even the famous drought has appeared. When Jack was about to take action, a familiar voice suddenly came from behind him. Zhu Tianwen, it's you. I didn't expect that the Tushan bandits would also come here. Jack looked at the fat man riding a cow in front of him and shouted. Others don't know Zhu Tianwen's identity, but Jack does. Shunmaru, also known as Ashura Doji, is one of the 9 red scabbard heroes. 40 years ago, he was known as the most dangerous man in Kuri. After he was defeated by Kazuki Oden, he followed Oden and became Oden's retainer. He once fought Kaido with Denjiro. Kaido was deeply impressed by him, so he always wanted to take this man as his subordinate, so Jack also had some impressions of this man. Zhu Tianwen, it's none of your business, so don't meddle in other people's business. Jack said to him impatiently. Although Kaido wants to recruit this man, if this man is ignorant, Jack will kill him without hesitation. The villagers of Wangli village watched nervously in the woods as Levi confronted them. They also wanted to fight Jack and Shunmaru with Levi, but their strength was too weak and they could only wait helplessly for things to happen. The result of Hey, don't push me here. I'm in a hurry, so come on together. Levi interrupted their conversation impatiently. Now an opponent of Jack's level simply can't raise the slightest bit. Interest of. How dare you underestimate Lousy like this? Jack and Shunmaru shouted at Levi at the same time, and then they pressed their momentum towards Levi with all their strength. Ma Mei was extremely nervous, and her hand holding the longbow turned white from nervousness. With her strength, she was definitely no match for Jack. Judenmaru also looked very difficult to mess with. Now she could only pin her hopes on 953. It's on Levi. Levi's hair was slightly raised by their momentum, and he raised his head sharply. Since you are ready, I will take action. A dark green slash swung towards Jack and others along the 7-star sword. When the slash appeared, Jack and others' minds suddenly exploded. A slash of this level will kill you. Jack and Shunmaru shouted in their hearts at the same time. Boom. As the slashes passed by, the entire ground suddenly became filled with smoke and dust. When the smoke and dust dissipated, everyone's pupils shrank into a thin line. Jack and Shunmaru's men were all killed under Levi's slash. Jack and Shunmaru's bodies were also scarred. The weapons in their hands had been neatly broken into 2 pieces. Their hands were now trembling. Such a level of slashing. This kind of slashing is actually stronger than Oden-sama. Shunmaru kept roaring in his heart. He originally thought that after Oden's death, there would be no man in Wano Kuni worthy of his following. I didn't expect that someone stronger than Oden would appear now. Levi, you are Levi, the great pirate with a bounty of 5 billion Baileys. Jack finally remembered who this man was, but he didn't expect that this man actually came to Wano Kuni after being silent for so long. Chapter 145. Zhu Tianwen surrenders, 2nd generation ghost, please subscribe. Be sure to report this news to Master Kaido. Jack knew that this man was here for Master Kaido. When this man was young, he had the strength to compete with Lord Kaido. He was a monster even more than Bullet. This man suddenly appeared in Wano Kuni after being silent for a long time. He must have a shocking plan. As expected of Jack, who has a bounty of 1 billion, he can actually kill me with a sword. Levi laughed, and then the 7-star sword in his hand bloomed with light again. No, I absolutely can't die here. Thinking of this, Jack turned into a giant mammoth and ran wildly into the distance. Kaido, who had always been fearless, was so frightened by Levi that he ran away without a fight. How can you sleep like this? Shunmaru roared like crazy. As a retainer of Kazuki Oden, he always thought that Kazuki Oden was the most powerful swordsman in the world. Therefore, even though Kazuki Oden has been dead for more than 10 years, he still leads his men to fight against Kaido. For more than 10 years, there are fewer and fewer samurai who can resist. Other samurai are also afraid of Kaido's power. They all went into hiding, and only Shunmaru kept fighting Kaido, and vowed not to obey Kaido to the death. You can also take a trick from me. Shunmaru's huge body jumped up from the cow's back, and then he swung the broken sword in his hand to slash. Boom. Jushinmaru's huge body hit the ground, his mouth and nose were bleeding, and he looked extremely miserable. You're dreaming if you think you can escape so easily, Jack. Jack had already escaped a long distance when Levi and Shunmaru were fighting, and had almost disappeared from Levi's sight. An extremely fast slash penetrated Jack's back, and his huge body was he rolled 3 times on the ground, then got up again and continued running. As expected of Zone Demon Fruit power, the vitality is really strong. Levi just glanced at it and stopped paying attention. A mere Jack had no impact on his plan at all. Master Levi is so strong. The villagers who were watching the battle were all flushed with excitement. They had seen how powerful Jack was. One after another powerful warriors were penetrated by Jack's tusks, and eventually they were trampled to pieces by him. Now Jack was actually frightened by Master Levi. He ran away, as if he knew Lord Levi and was frightened by Lord Levi's name. Why don't you run away, Shunmaru? Levi asked Shunmaru, who was lying on the ground. I escaped once after listening to that man's order more than 10 years ago. I don't want to escape again. Shunmaru struggled to get up from the ground. Then he took out the gourd from his waist and took a big gulp. Liquor. Aren't you afraid of death? Levi asked, raising his eyebrows. I should have died more than 10 years ago. For so many years, I have been living a life worse than death. But you don't know why you come to Wano Kuni with such strength? Shunmaru looked at the overly strong man in front of him. The man asked. I'm here to kill Kaido and Kurozumi and take over Wano Kuni, Levi said. Another careerist. Shunmaru looked at Levi with disdain. I am different from Kaido. I just want to turn this place into one of the bases. I will occupy Wano Kuni for 20 years at most, and I promise that I will not do such things to bully the people of Wano Kuni. The most important thing is that I also recognize Kazuki the leadership position of the family, but it is a pity that the Kazuki family has no heir. Levi sighed. You don't know the bright moon if you get what you want. 20 years woven into a bright moon, 9 shadows falling from the sky. Do you know the dazzling dawn? Shunmaru slowly read out a poem. The Kazuki family is not extinct. They will appear in 20 years. Now 17 years have passed. They will appear in 3 years. Shunmaru's eyes were full of determination, although he also scorned this prophecy, but he still persisted alone for 17 years. Not enough. This reason won't convince me. 3 years later, a bastard will run out of nowhere and say that he is the heir of Wano Kuni. Levi said to Shunmaru. Do you think I will believe this absurdity? Prophecy? Then can I follow you first, sir? I can deal with enemies that are not too difficult for you. I want to see with my own eyes how you recover Wano Kuni. Shunmaru's huge body knelt down in front of Levi. Okay, I allow you to follow. Levi smiled at Shunmaru. Master Levi, it's great that you're all right. By this time, Feiche finally determined that there was no danger at all, and he led the villagers out of the woods. Ju Tianwen, send your subordinates to tell Sanbin that I am going to Wado. Let's set off tomorrow morning. Levi ordered to Jushin. Fado, a samurai cannot live without a sword. Give him the sword on your waist. Levi glanced at Shunmaru's broken sword and said to Fado. What Shunmaru used was only a long sword of Liang Kuei Dao level, and a long sword of this level could not match his strength at all. This is not acceptable. This is an heirloom passed down from our ancestors. It is of extraordinary significance to me. Seeing Levi and Shunmaru's eyes constantly patrolling his waist, he hurriedly covered his knife. 21 sharp swords. Although Shunmaru didn't see clearly which knife it was, Qian Haohao. Judging from the workmanship and smell of the knife, this knife undoubtedly belonged to the 21 series. Sir, please wait for me for a moment. Feiche bowed to Levi, and then he ran towards his hut. Sir Shunmaru, this is my ancestor's sword. Please cherish it. Feiche presented a knife to Shunmaru with both hands. This is second-generation Kitetsu. The second-generation Kitetsu among the 21 great swordsmen. Shunmaru took a deep look at Hitotsu, a man who can possess 2 great swords and 21 swords. The human identity is absolutely extraordinary. Shunmaru always thought that he knew enough about Wano Kuni, but today he discovered that there were actually many things about Wano Kuni that he didn't know. Thank you Master Levi for the gift of the sword. Shunmaru bowed to Levi, and then he rode the bull into the distance. Chapter 146. Broken Rabbit Bull Prison. Please subscribe. What? Levi, the great pirate with a bounty of 5 billion belly, showed up in Wano Kuni. Quinn was shocked by the news that Jack brought. Now Jack's body is in extremely miserable condition. Levi's last slash almost cut him into 2 pieces from his back. Fortunately, he has Zone Demon Fruit power. The healing ability is extremely strong, otherwise he would have died long ago. Sir, this is the news sent by the Tushan bandits. A giver came in and handed Quinn a letter. Shunmaru acted extremely quickly. Less than half a day after Jack came back, his letter was delivered to Quinn. Brother Quinn, what happened? Jack asked Quinn. Shunmaru fought with him against Levi. When he escaped, he saw that Shunmaru had been defeated by Levi. Now his subordinates came to deliver the message again, which seemed abnormal. Levi is going to the flower capital. Quinn sighed and handed the letter to Jack. Now Levi is going to the flower capital soon, Quinn said to Jack. What? Jack was shocked. The flower city is the capital of Wano Kuni, and now Kurozumi is also in the flower city. Send a message to Mr. Kaido now. Wano Kuni will be in chaos soon. 413 inches Quinn said to Jack, and at the same time he took out the phone bug in his hand and started to make a call. Jin. Levi is on the way to Wano Kuni. Please take him with you right away. If you want to harass them, remember, Levi's strength is definitely not inferior to Kaido-sama, so don't fight him. Master Levi, it's time for us to set off, Shunmaru said to Levi. So amid the cheers of all the villagers, Levi embarked on the journey to the flower capital. Ma Mei, you must protect Xiao Yu. Levi said to Ma Mei. At this moment, Xiao Yu was sitting on Ma Mei's back. Levi was not ready to let Xiao Yu go, but Xiao Yu kept rolling and acting aggressively towards Levi. Finally, Shunmaru said to take this brat with him. It would be bad if she was held hostage by Kaido. So now there is such a strange scene. Levi is sitting on Zeus, Shunmaru is riding his bull, and Ma Mei is following them all the way to the flower. Bah! With a cry, a huge shadow covered them all, and then a raging flame fell from the sky, BFDF. Get out of the way, this is Master Jin's Skyfire. Ma Mei suddenly shouted. She once saw Jin take action once. At that time, the skyfire fell and even the enemy's weapons were burned into molten iron. Go back. Levi swung his fist towards the sky, and with a violent burst of fist wind, Wei Huo was blown away by Levi's fist. The giant pterosaur wearing a black police sergeant uniform revealed its true form. Come down here. Levi's eyes flashed, and a slash followed the sky towards the pterosaur. Jin felt like the hairs on his body stood up in the sky. The moment Levi's slash was swung, the slash had already reached in front of him. Jin had been fighting on the sea with Kaido for countless years, but this was the first time he had seen such a fast slash, and this slash was extremely powerful. His whole body felt pain even before the sword energy reached his body. Although Quinn told him that Levi's strength was no less than Kaido, Jin didn't believe it. He unsheathed his long sword and followed Levi's slash with a slash. Bah! Jin let out a miserable scream again. His wings were broken by Levi's blow, blood fell all over the sky, and he spread his wings and left this place. Master Levi is so powerful, Shudenmaru said in shock. He could not do it by delivering such a powerful slash from such a distance and at such a fast speed. After that, Levi and others continued to face harassment. Various flying zone demon fruit powers kept shooting arrows or javelins at Levi and others from the sky. However, under Levi's terrifying slashes, they were the most vulnerable. Levi killed him with just one blow. Where is the place ahead? Levi's eyes narrowed slightly. In this place, Levi felt several existences with very powerful auras. Sir, there is a free prison in front of you, Ju Waiwan replied to Levi. The people in Rabbit Bowl Prison are those who opposed General Kurozumi Orochi and Kaido. After their defeat, they were imprisoned here to provide labor for the quarry. They can only get food if they provide labor. Ma Mei said simply. Levi described the current situation at Rabbit Bowl Prison. When Levi arrived, Quinn and others evacuated Rabbit Bowl Prison, and they also headed for the Flower Capital. They had received orders, and Kaido was also going to the Flower Capital, which would be the battlefield for their final battle. Open it for me. Jushinmaru rode an ox and rushed towards the gate of Tuon Prison. A flash of white light flashed, and the gate of Mingguan Prison was opened by him. There is an enemy invasion. With the sharp whistle, groups of soldiers came towards Jushin, but none of them were Zhu Tianwen's enemies. They were all chopped down by Zhu Tianwen. On the way here, Levi and others have been attacked from the air. Due to his limited strength, he cannot attack the flying demon fruit power. He has already been simmering with anger. Now the guards of Rabbit Bowl Prison will soon he killed them all. With such fighting power despite severe injuries, Shudenmaru is indeed the strongest under Kazuki Oden. Levi couldn't help but nodded in approval. Sir, what should we do with these prisoners? They are all very powerful. Do you want to take them to the Flower Capital to challenge Kurozumi Orochi? Shudenmaru pointed at these prisoners and said to Levi. No need, they will only add fearless casualties. The key to victory or defeat lies only in Kurozumi Orochi and Kaido. For these lower-level samurai, they are just cannon fodder. Levi glanced at the prisoners, and then I decided not to take them with me. I didn't expect that, sir. You are also a kind person, and you actually consider the lower-level warriors like this. Shudenmaru knelt in front of Levi and burst into tears. Hey, I'm just telling the truth. You're so moved. Levi complained in his heart as he looked at the fat man in front of him who was crying into a ball. Hey, after you escape, you hide for a month. The Lord and I will defeat Kurozumi and Kaido within a month at most. Then you will be free. Shudenmaru shouted to the prisoners, and then they started again. Get up and head towards the Flower Capital. Chapter 146 Kazuki Hiyori, the capital of flowers. Please subscribe. Sir, in fact, in addition to a son named Momosuke, Lord Oden also has a daughter named Kazuki Hiyori, who also has the power to inherit the Kazuki family. On the way to the Flower City, Shudenmaru told Levi the past of the Kazuki family. Tell me what you think, Jushinmaru. Levi glanced at the fat man and said to him. Sir, if you allow it, I request you to marry Princess Hiyori, and you will take revenge as the son-in-law of the Kazuki family. In this case, there will be no public opposition to you, and you can take charge of the entire Wano-kuni without any bloodshed. Shudenmaru's head almost fell to the ground. Shudenmaru, you have to know that my strength and power are not inferior to Kaido at all. I think it is not difficult to rule Wano-kuni violently. Why do I have to become Hiyori's husband? Levi said to Shudenmaru. One of the characteristics of Wano-kuni people is that they pay special attention to etiquette. Just like Shudenmaru now, before he could speak properly, he rolled off the back of the cow and knelt on the ground. Sir, I don't know why you want to conquer Wano-kuni, but since you didn't bring any soldiers to Wano-kuni, it means you don't want others to know your plan now. If Wano-kuni is unstable, you will also be troubled, right? Shudenmaru lowered his head. Levi looked at the fat man in front of him. Although the plot said that this guy betrayed Kazuki Oden, it seemed that was not the case now. This guy was very loyal to Kazuki Oden. Now he not only wants to defeat Kurozumi Orochi, but also wants to restore the Kazuki family. Zhu Tianwen, don't you have a prophecy about the 9 red scabbard heroes? The 20-year deadline is coming soon. You can just wait for Mrs. Shi's prophecy. Why bother to plot against me? Levi, he said leisurely to Shudenmaru. Sir, aren't I preparing with both hands? I have to seize both hands and never miss an opportunity to revive the Kazuki family. Shudenmaru laughed. Levi couldn't help but be speechless at this shameless fat man. Sir, let me tell you that Princess Hiyori is in the flower capital now. Her subordinates were protecting her at that time, but later lost contact with her. General Kurozumi's office has not announced the death of Princess Hiyori until now. This shows that she is still alive now. Jushinmaru analyzed Levi. How do you know she's still in the flower city? Levi asked curiously. Sir, Wano-kuni is only so big. The Tushan bandits under him have never been to the flower city. They have searched all other places carefully several times. Shunmaru laughed happily after saying this. Looking at Shunmaru, who was smiling happily, Levi couldn't help but admire him. His master died in battle and his young master disappeared. This guy has been fighting alone for more than 10 years carrying the flag of the Kazuki family, and we are still looking for Kazuki Hiyori all over the country. This is a true loyal man. Princess Hiyori should be 21 years old now. Princess Hiyori's personality is the same as Mrs. Toki's, but she is a very gentle and good person. Shunmaru's eyes were full of tenderness, but now he could not tell that she was a good person. The leader of a band of thieves. I don't know what Princess Hiyori is doing now. She will definitely become a peerless beauty. If you see her, you will definitely be fascinated by her. Shunmaru laughed again. Shunmaru, how can you confirm the identity of Princess Hiyori? After all, so many years have passed. Levi asked Shunmaru. At that time, in order to prevent Mrs. Toki's ability from failing and to continue the bloodline of the Kazuki family, the young master Momonosuke went to the future under the protection of Raizo and other retainers, while Princess Kazuki Hiyori was protected by his subordinates and Kuwamatsu, and his subordinates led the stand-in for Princess Hiyori escaped from Odin Castle. Shunmaru explained to Levi. At that time, Princess Hiyori was carrying Odin-sama's personal sword Enma. This sword was also the Great Knife 21. It was with this sword that Lord Odin left a wound on Kaido's body. My subordinates still remember that time. As for Princess Hiyori, she will use this long sword to pierce the Kurozumi snake's chest with her own hands. Shunmaru's words made Levi look at Kazuki Hiyori with admiration. He didn't expect 10 women to have such an IQ. Please give me flowers, brother. Xiaoyu will also become a ninja in the future to protect brother. Xiaoyu waved her little fist and said to Levi in a sweet voice. This little girl has never seen what a ninja looks like. She just knows that ninja is a very powerful profession in Wano-kuni. Okay, brother, I'll wait for the day when you become a powerful ninja. Levi smiled and touched Xiaoyu's head. After Xiaoyu interrupted the conversation, Shunmaru and Levi could no longer continue their conversation, so they covered their heads again. Rushed towards the flower capital. The flower city is the capital of Wano-kuni, because the streets and alleys here are full of sakura flower trees. When spring comes, the entire flower city becomes a sea of sakura flowers, with groups of sakura flowers crowded together on the trees. Just like pieces of flowing clouds hanging on the trees, when a breeze blows, the flowers are raining all over the sky. When Levi and others came to the flower city, it was the season when sakura flowers were in bloom. The entire flower city was in the most beautiful season of the year. Countless young men and women in kimonos were happily nestled under the sakura flower trees. Because this is the location of Kurozumi Orochi's shogunate, there are no chimneys all over the mountains and plains. It still retains the most original beauty of Wano-kuni. It's really beautiful here. A happy smile appeared on Xiaoyu's face. She was spinning around in circles under Sakura's rain of flowers excitedly. Seeing the excited smile on Xiaoyu's face in front of him, Levi decided to preserve the beautiful scenery of Wano-kuni after defeating Kurozumi. He would build several kendo gyms in this country and let his swordsmen come here to learn kendo. Only in this purest natural environment can the purest swordsman be cultivated. Xiaozi is here, everyone, go and watch. There was a shout from nowhere, and all the men and women on the street ran towards the street. Their fanatical attitude was very much like Levi's star chasers in his previous life. Let's go see Wano-kuni's number 1 Oran. Levi smiled and picked up Xiaoyu, and then he walked towards the street. Chapter 147 is their reward. Please subscribe, it's so beautiful. Xiaoyu will no longer be a ninja. Xiaoyu will also be a singer. Xiaoyu's face was full of longing, and amid the beautiful music of the shamisen, a beautiful woman wearing a brocade-embroidered kimono and a gorgeous headdress slowly walked over. She has emerald green hair, styled like an aristocratic princess. Set against the sky full of sakura flowers, she looks like a goddess who stepped out of legend. This is Wano-kuni's number 1 beauty, Xiaozi. She's so beautiful, countless men are obsessed with Xiaozi's peerless beauty and can't extricate themselves. How come there is such a familiar feeling? Jushinmaru frowned. This is the Kazuki Hiyori you're looking for, Levi whispered to Shunmaru. Shunmaru was shocked. When the crowd had dispersed, Shunmaru took Levi to a secluded corner and asked Levi, how did you know he was Princess Hiyori? What I just sensed with observation haki is that this woman's heart is full of desire for revenge. You know, observation haki can hear other people's inner thoughts after practicing to ultimate. Levi casually made up a reason to take Shunwan. The household was full. In that case, I know what to do. Shunmaru bowed deeply to Levi. At this time, the entire street began to become restless, and subordinates belonging to Kurozumi and Kurozumi began to post bounty notices all over the city. The current Kurozumi Orochi mansion is in an unprecedented tense period. All Kurozumi Orochi's troops have been dispersed, especially around the entire periphery of the general mansion. He has deployed all demon fruit power here. It's just a bunch of idiots. With so many people, we can't even find a few pirates. Kurozumi cursed angrily. I heard from Quinn that Levi is a big pirate whose strength is no less than Kaido. Now he is heading towards the Shogun's mansion. The purpose of his trip is the head of Kurozumi Orochi, so he can't help but panic. Orochi, you have lost your composure. As a superior, you must be calm. An old voice came from the barrier behind the Orochi. The moment this voice came, Kurozumi suddenly became calm. He seemed to be a different person, and his whole aura became extremely calm. I am the general of the entire Wano Kuni. What can a mere pirate do to me? Kurozumi started laughing. The people who were kneeling under him laughed when they saw Kurozumi, and they all laughed and agreed. Just a pirate, he must be afraid of the majesty of the general and run away. Yes, general, that pirate must have escaped, otherwise our troops would not be able to find traces of him. Looking at the people in front of him who were looking at his expressions carefully, Kurozumi laughed again. Although that pirate is hateful, for those of you who are not good at doing things, keeping him is just a waste of food. General, spare your life. As the black shadows behind the Kurozumi snake spread, the entire hall became like a hell on earth, with screams, begging for mercy, and chewing sounds all heard. When the black shadows dispersed, the entire hall became quiet, and all the kneeling ministers disappeared. Then some warriors came up to clean the remaining bloodline in the hall. Their expressions did not change, and they were obviously not aware of everything in front of them. Commonplace. Where have you been, Shaozi? Why haven't you arrived yet? Kurozumi frowned. Reporting to the general, Shaozi has arrived at Central Street and will soon arrive at the general's mansion. A samurai reported to Orochi. Kurozumi's face showed a look of satisfaction, and he laughed loudly. Only Shaozi's singing and dancing can soothe my restless heart. Isn't this a portrait of a low-class person? Shunmaru was surprised. They had just arrived in the Flower City, and their reward orders began to be posted all over the city. Kurozumi Orochi's administrative efficiency is not very high. As his voice fell, everyone who was reading the notice turned to look at them. Then the expressions of the onlookers changed drastically. They all screamed and ran away. The streets that were originally packed with people became empty in an instant. This painter's painting skills are quite good. Levi couldn't help but nodded in approval as he looked at the notice in front of him. Posted here are portraits of Levi, Shunmaru and Ma Mei. Perhaps because Xiao Yu is too young, she is not on this notice. Following a sharp bamboo whistle, waves of footsteps continued to be heard around the street. The criminals are here, don't let them escape. Afterwards, groups of warriors holding long swords surrounded Levi and others. Outside the warriors, there were people with guns pointing at them. This was Kaido's army. I originally wanted to do it in a low-key manner, but it seems I can't hide it now. Levi sighed secretly, and then his conqueror's haki directly filled the audience, and the warriors fell to the ground one after another. Their strength was too low, and Levi simply used conqueror's pressure to destroy them. What an amazing strength! The look of shock on Shunmaru's face flashed away. He originally thought he had seen Levi's strength, but it turned out to be just the tip of the iceberg. Such a powerful conqueror's haki. Maya was shocked. Levi also used conqueror's haki once when he was robbing the treasure ship, but his overlord haki was only 1/10 of what it is now. I don't know if this is Levi's full strength now. 5.6. Now go directly to Kurozumi Orochi's shogunate. Our whereabouts have been discovered, there is no need to hide it anymore. Levi said to Shunmaru. But, Shunmaru hesitated for a moment. He originally wanted to find Princess Kazuki Hiyori first, but the current situation no longer allowed him to find Hiyori first. Let's go. Let's hit the bad guy Kurozumi away. Xiao Yu waved her little fist excitedly, as if she could knock Kurozumi away with one punch. The mansion of Kurozumi Orochi has been found. Levi's observation haki instantly found the direction of Kurozumi Orochi's mansion. Shocked by Conqueror's haki, Levi headed all the way towards the Shogun's mansion. Chapter 148 True Holiday Harmony. Please subscribe. Kurozumi Orochi's Shogun Mansion is the successor to Kazuki Sukiyaki's mansion. In addition to the specifications of the house remaining unchanged, the surrounding decoration, flowers, trees and plants have also been completely renewed. Shunmaru couldn't help but sigh with emotion when he looked at the familiar yet unfamiliar place in front of him. They had been here many times with Kazuki Oden, and he was considered a regular customer here. Sir, let me take the lead. Shunmaru pulled out second-generation Kitetsu, and a cold smile appeared on his face. He had dreamed of this scene countless times in his dreams, and now his dream was finally about to come true. Who are you? Seeing Shunmaru drawing his sword with a murderous look, they finally realized something was wrong, and they started blowing bamboo whistles like crazy. The entire general's mansion was alarmed. At this moment, Kurozumi is enjoying Shaozi's music in the hall. Shaozi is wearing a white mask and playing the shamisen. As the rhythm of the music gradually speeds up, Kurozumi's posture becomes more and more wild. The atmosphere inside was in sharp contrast to the murderous scene outside. A man with squinting eyes and a strange blue hairstyle suddenly opened his eyes when he heard the movement outside the hospital. What happened? Lord Guangxilong, Shudenmaru, the pillar of the Tushan bandit group, has come in. A subordinate reported to him in a hurry. How many people did they come? Guangxilong asked. There are 4 people in total, the subordinate said hesitantly. What a waste. Such a big general's palace can't even take down 4 madmen. Guangxilong sneered, and then he kicked the ninja over. Inform the Orochi Imperial Court fans and let them solve the trouble. Don't disturb Master Kurozumi Orochi's temperament. Kurozumi ordered the ninja. As the ninja left, Guangxilang was intoxicated in Xiaozi's music. Shudenmaru fought all the way from the gate to the front yard. At this moment, as the samurai retreated, some ninjas dressed in strange shapes began to join the ranks besieging Shudenmaru. These ninjas were obviously much stronger than the samurai. Tenmaru was gradually trapped in this square and could not move any further. Zhu Tianwen, please step back. You can follow me for the rest of the journey. Levi saw that Zhu Tianwen couldn't break through for a long time, so he prepared to go into battle himself. Shudenmaru drove back the enemy in front of him with a slash. He said to Levi with shame, "This is General Sukiyaki's army. They're very strong. Please be careful." Levi slowly walked towards the square. The ninjas in front of him fired a wave of darts to test, but all the darts were blocked by Levi's 7-star sword. Afterwards, Levi's figure had disappeared. Xiao Yu and others saw an extremely strange scene. Nearly 100 Levi's figures appeared on the square. This was an illusion caused by Levi's too fast speed. As Levi's figures merged into one, the square there is no one alive above. Kurozumi was still immersed in the joyful atmosphere of the banquet, and he had no idea what was going on outside the general's palace. Boom! With a loud noise, the entire hall collapsed, and Kurozumi and everyone in the hall were buried inside. Who dares to disturb Laozi's enjoyment? Kurozumi stood up angrily from the ruins. At the moment when the hall collapsed, an old man released a barrier, although Kurozumi was not hit by the collapsed roof. Yes, but he was choked and looked very embarrassed. When he saw the tragic situation of the general's mansion, the pupils in his eyes couldn't help but shrink tightly. The entire general's mansion was razed to the ground, and according to his experience, it was cut out by a slash. What a powerful swordsman, Kurozumi said with a moved expression. Then he saw Levi and others standing in the distance. Are you Levi? Kurozumi woke up from the drink immediately. He could feel Levi's strong aura, and the wanted notice for Levi was given to him by Quinn himself, so he was very impressed by Levi. Quinn said that Levi was as strong as Kaido. Kurozumi thought that Quinn was exaggerating to cover up his incompetence. But now it seems that is not the case. Levi is really strong. Are you Wanakuna's General Kurozumi? What a pity. Levi shook his head regretfully. Before meeting Kurozumi, Levi thought he was a strong man who was not inferior to Kaido, but when he met this man, Levi was disappointed. Perhaps because he had been peaceful for too long, Kurozumi had lost his ability as a strong man. The basic vigilance of the person. Asshole, what's your look? Kurozumi was immediately angered by Levi's look. He was the supreme ruler of Wano-kuni, and now he was despised by a pirate. Wait a minute, if I'm not mistaken, you are Ashura Doji. I can't believe that you can find such a powerful backer in your family for Hikaru. 10 old men stood up holding a young girl hostage. Do you still know her, Shudenmaru? This is your Kazuki Day 210 and the princess. With just one move of my hand, the heir of your Kazuki family will be gone. The old man's smile was as ugly as a crow's. Are you Princess Hiyori? Shudenmaru looked at the face that was exactly the same as that of his wife back then. His heart was shaken immediately, and he remembered that Levi said that Xiaozi was Princess Kazuki Hiyori, so the girl in front of him how to explain it. Ashura boy, leave me alone, kill them all and avenge us, Kazuki Hiyori screamed sadly. Sir, what should we do? Shudenmaru was completely out of ideas, and he looked at Levi for help. Didn't you hear Princess Hiyori's wish? Kill these people to avenge Princess Hiyori? Levi said in surprise, as if drinking a pill was a very mentally retarded question. I say it again, put down your weapons. A short dagger appeared in the old man's hand, and the sharp dagger had already left a blood mark on Hiyori's slender and white neck. Kazuki Hiyori looked extremely uncomfortable, but she still stared at the old man unyieldingly. What a great acting skill, Kurozumi Higurashi, you are worthy of being a Paramecia clone fruit user. Levi suddenly laughed. Chapter 149 to 70% Sword Intent, please subscribe. Levi's words immediately changed the expressions of several members of the Kurozumi family. Kurozumi Orochi held the 2 samurai swords on his waist tightly and laughed. What nonsense are you talking about? This is Princess Hiyori. She will continue the bloodline of our Kurozumi family in the future. Princess Hiyori, haven't you shown up yet? Levi shouted loudly. His words immediately made Kurozumi Orochi and others suspicious. Their eyes couldn't help scanning the faces of Mami and Xiao Yu. Among the people present, they were the only 2 girls. Xiao Yu was too young. They automatically ignored it, so they all looked at Ma Mei. I'm not Princess Hiyori, don't look at me like that. For the first time, Ma Mei felt the embarrassment of having a 350-degree perspective. Being stared at by so many powerful people, she also felt a lot of pressure. Aran Xiaozi, Princess Hiyori, haven't you shown up yet? Levi shouted again at the pile of ruins in front of him. Then a woman wearing a white mask stood up from the ground. She had been quietly watching the development of the situation. Unexpectedly, Levi actually directly revealed her identity. She originally thought that Kurozumi was trying to lure her out, but now that the entire shogunate has been destroyed, if it was just to test her, the price would be too high. How do you know my identity? At this moment, Xiaozi's princess hairstyle has been let down, and her emerald green hair is simply pinned with a gold hairpin. How do you know me? As for my identity, I didn't reveal any flaws when I asked myself. My observation Haki told me that I can hear the hatred and pain in your heart. Your heart is tortured by hatred every day. Every time in the dead of night, the scene of your father's death will be repeated in front of you. Keeps you awake at night. Levi slowly told Hiyori's heart. Observation Haki, my father can also do this. After Xiaozi said, she slowly took off her mask. At this moment, she had tears streaming down her face. No one knew that she, a weak woman, was doing this. How did it happen that she had been forced to smile all day long in the capital for more than 10 years? Now that Levi was talking about her, she couldn't help but feel the oil in her eyes. Kurozumi rolled his eyes and suddenly laughed. Ashura boy, what I have in my hands is the real Princess Hiyori. What he has in his hands is just a counterfeit. He is trying to replace the blood of the Kazuki family quietly, so that he can control the entire Wano-kuni secretly. Shudenmaru looked at the two Princess Hiyori in front of him, and he had no idea. Ashura boy, do you remember Yama? Xiaozi picked up the super high shoes she was wearing from the ground, and then the shoes broke from the middle, and a knife fell from the middle of Xiaozi's hand. This is Enma, one of the Lord's swords. Yes, you are Princess Kazuki Hiyori. When Odin died, he distributed the two swords he had with him. Tianyu Yuzhan was given to his eldest son Momosuke, and Yama was given to Kazuki Hiyori. Later, in order to preserve the bloodline of the Kazuki family, they were divided into two. The faction dispersed and fled. Kurozumi and others were also full of surprises. They did not expect that Hiyori, whom they had always wanted to capture, was right under their noses and had been with them for such a long time. It's really a good trick, Princess Hiyori. Hiyori, who was held hostage by Kurozumi's projectiles, praised. Her voice was originally as clear as an oriole, but after she spoke, her voice turned into the voice of an old man, and at the same time, the figure of an old woman appeared in front of them. You are also pretending to be young Master Momonosuke. Shudenmaru's eyes were splitting. When Kazuki was fighting Kaido, Kurozumi had kidnapped a fake Momonosuke. Now he knows that fake Momonosuke was transformed into the old guy in front of him. Not only that, the Kazuki Sukiyaki who said that the throne was passed to Kurozumi Orochi was also pretended by her. Otherwise, no matter how stupid Sukiyaki is, there is no way he would pass the throne to an outsider instead of his own son. Levi sneered. I'm going to kill you. Shudenmaru could no longer bear the anger in his heart, and the long sword in his hand sent out a slash towards the two old guys in front of him. How can this be? Zhu Tianwen was shocked back several steps. The moment he struck out, the old man made a strange gesture with his hand, and then a barrier appeared in front of him. This barrier easily killed Jushin. Maru's slash was blocked. Kazuki Hiyori looked at the old man in front of him with surprise. This old man's name was Kurozumi Dangan. He was a Beepaw master. Nikawa also did not expect that this old man had such strength. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kurozumi Dandan, and I am a Paramisha barrier fruit user. I can even catch Kazuki Odin's slash, let alone you. Kurozumi Dangan smiled proudly. I want to see if your devil fruit can resist my attack. Levi's eyes flashed, and then the 7-star sword in his hand was unsheathed, and his sword stabbed directly towards the barrier. Ding! With a crisp sound, Levi's long sword hit the barrier, and the barrier of Kurozumi's projectiles blocked Levi's long sword. I told you, it's useless. My barrier fruit can block all attacks. Kurozumi Dangan laughed. Really, I'll try again. Levi's long sword was raised straight, dinos, and then a powerful sword intention was inspired by him. He just used the 5th level of sword intent, but now his sword intent has soared to 70%. Such a powerful sword intention, even stronger than Kazuki Odin's sword intention. Kurozumi Orochi was also shocked by Levi's sword intention. As Levi's sword intention condensed, the clouds in the sky were also broken by the sword intention. The golden sunlight shines on Levi's body, making him seem like a god in the sky. Kaka. As the long sword collided with the barrier, Kurozumi's projectile energy was lost crazily. Where Levi's sword tip came into contact with the barrier, shocking cracks appeared on the barrier. Levi exerted his strength again, and with Kurozumi's shocked look on his face, Levi's long sword connected Kurozumi Higurashi and Kurozumi's projectiles together. Kurozumi Higurashi and Kurozumi Dangan died. Chapter 150. The defeat of Kurozumi Orochi. Please customize, please order in full. Kurozumi, it's your turn now. Levi's 7-star sword was pointed at Kurozumi. It's not that easy to kill me. Seeing that his two family ancestors were killed in an instant, Kurozumi became panicked instantly. The Kurozumi snake suddenly let out a roar, which sounded like a human voice at first, and then sounded like a snake's cry. 8 huge snakes appeared behind him. At this moment, Kurozumi's whole body is full of violent aura, and now he looks like a Wano Kuni general. Levi, let me show you the power of my double sword style. Kurozumi, the snake, held two swords, and a powerful sword intention emerged from his body. In addition to being a demon fruit power, Kurozumi is also a swordsman. Sir, be careful. Kurozumi Orochi practices the most powerful double sword style of the Wano Kuni Kazuki family, and ordinary swordsmen are no match for him. Shudenmaru said to Levi worriedly. Kazuki Oden is practicing this kind of swordsmanship. He once heard from other followers that when the mountain god incident broke out in the flower capital, a huge wild boar as big as a hill rushed into the flower capital. Kazuki Oden used it. This sword move cut a wild boar as big as a hill into 4 pieces in just one move. I have 2 swords, 157, and you only have 1. How can you fight with me? Kurozumi's voice roared like thunder. To kill someone, a sword is enough. Looking at Kurozumi, who looked like a god and demon in front of him, Levi became interested in fighting. Kurozumi is the awakened zone devil fruit ability, and he is also a top swordsman. This is the opponent Levi wants. Jutianwen and Ma-Mei, protect Xiaoyu and Hiyori. After Levi finished speaking, he began to stride towards the Kurozumi snake. Boom, boom, boom. The moment Levi rushed towards him, Kurozumi's snake head kept hitting Levi, and the entire square became smoky. The snake Kurozumi transformed into was not only strong, but he could also spit out streams of dark green liquid from his mouth. The poisonous gas, the surrounding flowers and plants withered the moment they came into contact with these dark green auras, and even the surrounding stones began to melt. Quickly retreat, retreat outside. Jutianwen's expression changed drastically. If these toxins were contaminated on their bodies, they would definitely be dissolved instantly. As they left, the entire general's mansion began to be shrouded in poisonous fog. This is my poison domain. As long as you are contaminated with a trace of poisonous gas, your whole body will turn into pus and blood and die. Kurozumi looked at Levi and smiled proudly. Wouldn't it be better if you don't breathe? Levi's eyes flashed, and he swung out the 7-star sword in his hand. The snake's head that was originally biting him was chopped off with one strike of his sword. On the thick neck of the big snake Kurozumi, there was an ink-green blood continued to spurt out, and the entire general's mansion became even more smelly. Levi's whole body has been shrouded in armament haki. Fortunately, his armament haki has reached its peak state. In this state, he can resist all attacks. Ah! My head! The remaining 7 heads of the Kurozumi snake became more violent in an instant, and the general's mansion was constantly knocked down by him. Jushinmaru and others could only hear the constant rumbling sound, and they could not see the situation in the general's mansion at all. Ashura Doji, will that adult be okay? Kazuki Hiyori asked worriedly. Originally it was the mission of the Kazuki family to kill Kurozumi Orochi, but Kaido and Kurozumi Orochi were too powerful. Hiyori had been lurking in the flower capital for more than 10 years, and she had no idea of a way to deal with Kaido and Kurozumi Orochi. Just when she felt darkness, she suddenly saw a glimmer of light. Levi was the only glimmer of light she saw, and Hiyori couldn't imagine what would happen to her if Levi failed. Don't worry, because BFDF, brother is the strongest. Xiaoyu turned around and smiled at Hiyori. Xiaoyu's pure smile also calmed Hiyori's restless heart, and she looked towards the field again. As Levi swung his long sword, the heads of the Kurozumi snake fell to the ground one after another. In the blink of an eye, 7 of the Kurozumi snake's heads were chopped off by Levi, leaving him with only the last head. Levi, I admit that you are very strong, so let me show you my strongest state. Kurozumi laughed loudly, and then an extremely shocking scene happened. His 7 necks that had been severed by Levi began to slowly squirm, and in the blink of an eye, 7 new heads grew out. After that, the Kurozumi snake opened 8 huge mouths at the same time, and an amazing suction force appeared from his mouth. The poison that Cage had in the Shogun's mansion was re-inhaled by the Kurozumi snake. Afterwards, the Kurozumi snake reappeared in front of everyone. At this moment, he was holding 2 swords, but his swords had turned dark green. This is my improved swordsmanship, a new swordsmanship formed by combining the secret swordsmanship of the Kazuki family with my demon fruit power. Kurozumi proudly waved his swords, following his 2 swords. The sword flew, and dark green poisonous gas continued to emit along his long sword. Levi's brows furrowed. Under the induction of his observation haki, he saw a brand new scene. Kurozumi's 2 swords looked like they were at the level of a sharp sword, but under his poison, these 2 swords the knife has been corroded by the poisonous mist. Go to hell. Kurozumi laughed wildly, waving his swords and flying towards Levi with poisonous slashes one after another. Let you die with dignity, Levi sighed, and then all his sword intent was aroused, and the entire general's mansion suddenly became agitated. Levi swung a slash, which instantly broke all the slashes of Kurozumi Orochi, and then the slash flew towards Kurozumi Orochi. No, how can you be so strong? Kurozumi's eyes reflected Levi's slash. His swords crossed and faced Levi's sword energy. As his swords were damaged, Levi's slash passed through his back. How can you defeat me? My swordsmanship is the strongest. Kurozumi was bleeding from 7 orifices. He had been seriously injured by Levi. If he hadn't been the zone demon fruit power, he would have died long ago.